लास्ट डिबेट है आप लोगों का क्लास 10 में। आगे कभी शायद मौका मिल जाए 11-12 में थ्योरी के लिए, और 22-23 का यानी तीसरा डिबेट सबसे लास्ट। और केमिस्ट्री तीसरा बार हो रहा है, उम्मीद है कि आगे से बेहतर ही होगा, क्योंकि आप 2 बार फेस कर चुके हैं अपनी तैयारियों के साथ। और कल रिजल्ट भी आ जाएगा, क्योंकि रिजल्ट तो बिल्कुल अपडेट है। बस आज का नंबर जोड़ेंगे, रिजल्ट आ जाएगा। सुबह सुबह साजिद सर जोड़ देंगे। 26 जनवरी को प्राइज भी उम्मीद है कि हम लोग बांट देंगे। सारा काम बिल्कुल फास्ट होगा। चलते हैं, स्टार्ट करते हैं हम लोग। सर पानी बोल
रही ना
बोतल आया। हाँ रखेंगे तब ना।
So first of all, good evening. मैं सबको गुड मॉर्निंग बोलना चाहूँगा, क्योंकि एक अच्छा शुरुआत एक सुबह से ही होता है। ओके, so good morning to all of you. And जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले बताया था, और आपको मालूम भी है कि जब भी आप अभी आंसर आपको जब भी आपका आंसर कंप्लीट होगा एनीवन किसी का भी, तो उसका आंसर कंप्लीट है तो आपको अपना हैंड रेज नहीं करना है, ठीक है। और कहीं भी आपको ये लगे कि नहीं इसके आंसर में कहीं मिस्टेक था या फिर इसने कोई पॉइंट्स को छोड़ दिया, देन प्लीज रेज योर हैंड एंड आप आंसर करोगे। ओके,
पीछे सटना नहीं चाहिए, नहीं तो लोग हिलाता रहेगा। आगे रखो अपना, पीछे नहीं सटना चाहिए बिल्कुल।
तो स्टार्ट करते हैं। एंड आपको मालूम है अबाउट द केमिस्ट्री सब्जेक्ट, है ना। कई स्टूडेंट्स ये भी कहते हैं कि केमिस्ट्री एक एक्सेप्शन से भरा हुआ सब्जेक्ट है ना। लेकिन ये बिल्कुल हमारी लाइफ से रिलेट भी करता है। आप सोचो, आज 23 जनवरी है और आज सुभाष चंद्र बोस जी का जन्मदिन है ना। और आपको ये पता होना चाहिए उन्होंने भी कुछ एक्सेप्शनल काम किया है ना सोसाइटी के अंदर, तभी आज इनका नाम है। आप सोचो कि आज के दिन कितने लोगों का जन्मदिन होगा, कितने लोगों का बर्थडे होगा आज, है ना। बट हम फिर भी वी रिमेंबर सुभाष चंद्र बोस, व्हाई? बिकॉज ही हैज डन सम एक्सेप्शनल वर्क इन द सोसाइटी, है ना, फॉर मेकिंग आवर कंट्री फ्री फ्रॉम द ब्रिटिश। ओके ना। सो बिल्कुल यही है। आप सोच लो केमिस्ट्री बिल्कुल वैसे ही है। एक्सेप्शन तो है, क्योंकि देखो रूल होगा, एक्सेप्शन तो हो गए, है ना। लॉ के लिए कोई एक्सेप्शन नहीं होता, लॉ इज वैलिड फॉर एवरीवेयर। बट अगर रूल है तो एक्सेप्शन तो हो गए, है ना। सो कमिंग टू ऑल द पॉइंट्स, एंड आपका बोर्ड एग्जाम भी काफी पास है एंड आप प्रिपेयर करो उसके अच्छे एग्जाम के लिए। ओके ना। मैंने काफी इंस्ट्रक्शन के बीच में दिया था दैट हाउ डू यू राइट द पॉइंट्स, है ना। आप एग्जाम में कैसे लिखोगे, है ना। जैसे कि मैंने बहुत बेसिक से बात डिस्कस की थी, यू मस्ट ड्रॉ द डायग्राम विद द पेंसिल, ओके ना। और ये इंस्ट्रक्शन होता है सीबीएसई बोर्ड में। और बहुत सारे आप जैसे कि आपका अगर आपके मार्क्स 5 मार्क्स का है और आप क्वेश्चन में 5 मार्क्स का है, जब तक आप उसके 5 मार्क्स की तरफ लॉन्ग आंसर लिखोगे नहीं, आपको नंबर कैसे मिलेगा, है ना। और भी मैं लास्ट में एक बार सब लोग कंक्लूड भी करूंगा। ओके, सो स्टार्ट करते हैं फर्स्ट चैप्टर, दैट इज केमिकल रिएक्शन एंड इक्वेशन। ओके, सो द फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन फॉर साइज जवाल, यू जस्ट टेल व्हाट इज अ केमिकल रिएक्शन।
Chemical reaction is a process in which the reactant, the compound or two molecules or compound reactant to form a new product, their property will be changed and their condition from the reactant will be changed. It's called as chemical reaction.
ओके, कोई और बोलना चाहेगा सेम डेफिनेशन को किसी अदर वे में? नहीं, चलो जस्ट टेल मी अबाउट व्हाट इज अ रिएक्टेंट। कुछ बताओ रिएक्टेंट क्या होता है?
It is substance or known as reactant.
Okay, good. Now, what is the product?
The substance which is formed after the reaction as a result is not a product of that chemical reaction.
देखते हैं
Okay. Now, Pratima, आप मुझे बताओ. Just give me an example of a chemical reaction in which you have to describe the reactant and the product involved in it.
There are many chemical reactions. We take an example of Cu plus O, which form copper oxide. Here Cu and oxygen are the reactants which product copper oxide with CuO.
CuO.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you just tell. आपसे NCERT का पहला एक्टिविटी आपसे पूछ रहा हूँ. आपने एक्टिविटी लैब में भी किया था. And the activity is burning of magnesium B1. आप ऐसे डिफाइन करो. आप कैसे करते हो इसका, इसमें कौन सा केमिकल रिएक्शन इन्वॉल्व होता है, इसका प्रोडक्ट क्या होता है, ये कौन सा रिएक्शन है? जस्ट टेल.
The first activity of the first chapter is magnesium ribbon. When the magnesium ribbon is burned, then it forms a white PPT, which is magnesium oxide. This reaction is known as combination reaction. Here magnesium Mg plus O2. This is product and this is reactant. And the product is formed as magnesium oxide. Magnesium oxide is white PPT.
Okay, then how will you say that the magnesium oxide is formed is acidic or basic? How will you tell that?
Magnesium oxide we react it magnesium oxide with water, then it form magnesium hydroxide, and magnesium hydroxide we check with the use of indicators.
Okay, which type of indicator?
If indicator is dissolved in it, then it gives a color red, then it is acidic, or if it gives a color base, then it is blue.
I am asking which type of indicator?
Paper indicator, litmus paper.
Okay. Now, Sahib Jamal, you just tell me about the decomposition of lead nitrate, activity 1.2 NCERT.
When lead nitrate decomposes, then it forms lead oxide (PbO), and there is an evolution of nitrogen oxide (4NO) with the evolution of oxygen gas.
No, your reaction is wrong. Anyone tell the decomposition of lead nitrate? No. Just tell me about the decomposition of lead nitrate with potassium iodide. आप बता दीजिए.
When lead nitrate reacts with potassium iodide, then it forms lead iodide with potassium nitrate.
Formula potassium nitrate.
Potassium nitrate is KNO3.
Okay. Now next, just tell me about what are the characteristics of a chemical reaction? Yes, Fatima, you tell.
If we can check if a chemical reaction occur or not by the following characteristics. First, change in the state. Second, change in temperature. Third, evolution of the gas. Fourth, formation of precipitation. And color change.
Okay, just give an example. You just give this example of where a chemical reaction is a change of temperature occur. Example.
Change of temperature other than calcium oxide plus water is reacted, then it will produce CaOH2 का voltage, which is calcium hydroxide, which form with a lot of heat.
Which in which a lot of heat is evolved. That means it is an example of endothermic reaction. Okay. Now, could you tell about the change of color? Example of change of color.
When we react lead nitrate with potassium iodide, it forms lead iodide and potassium nitrate. Here, in reacted lead nitrate is a colorless, but after the reaction, lead iodide form and it is a yellow color.
Yellow PPT, yellow precipitate. Okay. Now, just you tell Suhail about the evolution of gas. Example.
Evolution of gas. We take an example of calcium hydroxide. When calcium hydroxide, first of all we take a calcium oxide which react with water. It forms a calcium hydroxide, and here evolution of hydrogen gas.
No.
Another example, we take zinc and zinc react with HCl, hydrochloric acid. Then it forms zinc chloride plus hydrogen gas, where gas is equal to hydrogen.
Now next, आप मुझे बताओ what are the importance of a chemical equation? Side बताओ.
Through the chemical equation, we know about the reactant, which is written in the word equation, and which is a chemical formula. And as a product, when the chemical reaction takes place, we follow the law of conservation of mass, in which the number of atoms present in the reactant is equal to number of product present as a result.
Okay, that means यहाँ पे law of conservation of mass valid होता है. Okay, can you prove with an example?
Like example, through the law of, according to law of conservation of mass, mass neither be created nor be destroyed. It changes one form into another form. So we take the example of magnesium oxide, through which when magnesium 2Mg plus O2, when it is reacted and burned, then it forms 2MgO, in which the atomic mass of Mg is 12 and the atomic mass of oxygen is 16. And then we add, then the equal mass we get from the product side also.
Okay, that means MgO is having the how many mass?
MgO have
Just calculate.
56.
2 MgO, na? It's 2 MgO.
2 MgO. So
24 plus
24
16.
plus 16,
Yeah.
so equal to 40.
Now just tell me about the types of reaction. Kushbu, you just tell the types of reaction.
There are many types of reaction: combination reaction, decomposition reaction, displacement reaction.
On about the redox reaction happens here.
A redox reaction where oxidation and reduction take place.
Okay, just tell Fatima, what is redox reaction?
In redox reaction, it involves two processes, that is oxidation and reduction. In oxidation,
बोलो कर किनारे है
तार समझ जाओ,
तार से साइड होगा और छूछा नहीं करेगा तार समझ जाएगा लेकिन किनारे बैठा हुआ होली कौन गहने बैठा हुआ तार से होने कर ए जाओ तो वो कौन है
Just explain this.
चलो उधर
This reaction with the law
चलो
of
साइड चलो
electron against electron.
तो इधर तार पे नहीं बैठेगा दिखेगा तार उधर चलो
यहीं पे बैठो
बस अभी नहीं रहो
What is the oxidizing agent and what is the
अरे
reducing agent?
Oxidizing agent is
वो देखा चलिए हम
oxidizing agent is that element which reduce, and reducing agent is that element which oxidize in the reaction.
Can you give an example?
देखा
Same example.
ऊते हमें खिंचाते हैं
In MgO, Mg plus 2, it will form MgO. In it, Mg is oxidizing, Mg is reducing agent, and oxygen is oxidizing agent.
क्या मीन सही होता है? चलो ठीक है. Now just tell me how the process of respiration help us to stay alive. Kushbu, you tell.
Respiration is a process where the glucose breaks down in the form of the carbon dioxide, water, and energy. We also call it is an exothermic reaction.
Okay. Now just tell me, I am asking about the combination reaction. What is the combination reaction, sir?
Combination reaction is a type of reaction in which two or more compounds react with each other and form a new compound.
Can you give me an example in which between two elements a single compound is formed?
Yes, sir. Example is there calcium oxide plus water, calcium hydroxide.
I am asking between two elements, not a compound.
Between two elements,
Yeah.
like carbon plus oxygen, carbon dioxide.
Okay. Now just try to take between two compound.
Between two compounds, we take CO2 plus CaOH multiplies to, it will form CaCO3 plus H2O.
2 .
Sorry, only CaCO3.
Now, Pratibha, about an element in a compound example of combination reaction.
In element, we can take Mg plus O, which form magnesium oxide, and in compound,
No, you're wrong. Just partner.
if we take about combination reaction and element,
I'm asking about there must be an element in a compound.
then Fe plus CuSO4, iron plus copper sulfate.
It is not an example of combination reaction, you know that. Yes, Bhutel.
So calcium oxide plus water can it form calcium hydroxide.
I am just asking a metal and a compound. Which form of combination reaction? क्या किसी को पता है? Yes, I.
When zinc reacts with sodium hydroxide, it forms sodium zincate.
लेकिन वहाँ पे एक बाई प्रोडक्ट बनता है ना, बाई प्रोडक्ट नहीं बनना चाहिए, तो क्या होता है? एग्जाम्पल इज कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड प्लस ऑक्सीजन, क्या फॉर्म करता है? CO2 प्लस O2. Now once more, I'm asking about calcium, sorry, carbon oxide CO plus O2, CO plus O2, carbon monoxide plus oxygen, है ना? कार्बन मोनोऑक्साइड यहाँ पे क्या है? It is a compound. एंड ऑक्सीजन यहाँ पे क्या है? ऑक्सीजन यहाँ पे क्या है ना, एलिमेंट हो कि नहीं हुआ? तो CO2 जो आपका जो फॉर्म कर रहा है सिंगल प्रोडक्ट है, इज इट एग्जांपल ऑफ व्हाट? कॉम्बिनेशन रिएक्शन, है ना? नाउ जस्ट टेल मी अबाउट द नेक्स्ट, यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन एक्टिविटी वेयर डिकम्पोजिशन ऑफ फेरस सल्फेट.
जो ऑडियंस में आप लोग बैठे हैं ना, याद रहे कि गप नहीं करने के लिए बैठे हैं, और यहाँ बहुत सारे बात कर रहे हैं तुम लोग. एक आवाज नहीं आना चाहिए, शांति से बैठ के देखो.
Okay. Just you tell Fatma, just tell about the decomposition of ferrous sulfate on heating.
First, we take ferrous sulfate crystal, then it is FeSO4.7H2O, also known as green petrol. Then water of crystallization present in it. If we heat it, then it will be removed, and again further heating, FeSO4 ferrous sulfate, it will produce sodium dioxide plus sodium trioxide plus ferrous oxide.
Sodium dioxide.
Sulfur dioxide and sulfur trioxide or ferrous oxide.
Ferrous oxide. Yes, I will just tell.
When FeSO4 get reheated, then it forms Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3.
No, just starting से मुझे बताओ क्या बोलते हैं? green petrol को heat करते हैं.
First we take the green nitrol, and it is there is a water of crystallization present on it, so we will heat it. Then when we heat, we get FeSO4 plus 7H2O, and then we take the FeSO4 and get heated. It will form Fe2O3 plus SO2 plus SO3, which are evolved as a gas form.
Okay, very good. Now you just tell me about what are the how can you justify that is SO2 and SO3 gas? You want to tell about the appearance or something else about SO2 and SO3 gas?
As we know, as sulfur is a non-metal, so it forms always acidic oxide. To know that the evolution of SO2 or SO3 take place, we take the moist litmus paper near the solution, and the acidic always change the color of blue litmus paper into red. So it will change the color of blue litmus paper into red. Then we can say the evolution of SO2 and SO3 take place.
Now, just next question I am asking. Yes, but I will just tell. What happens when calcium carbonate is heated?
When calcium carbonate is heated, then it will form calcium hydroxide plus water.
No, wrong. Yes, Khushbu will tell.
When we heated calcium carbonate, it forms calcium oxide plus CO2.
Okay. Now, last. Just tell me about the zinc carbonate. What is the decomposition reaction of a zinc carbonate? Yes, Fatima. just explain the activity of electrolysis of water.
In the electrolysis of water, there is two electrode that is cation and anion. Cation is
Cation and anion is not.
cathode and anode.
Yes.
The cathode is negative, positive charge, and anode is positive. Cathode is negative charge, and anode is positive charge. Here the breakdown of water molecules that H plus and OH minus. And it attracts toward the opposite charge. That is cathode is like a negative charge. Then here H plus ion is attract, and the anode which is positive charge, and here OH minus is attract.
So who will explain this properly? Everybody don't understand.
In electrolysis of water, we take a jar in which water is present. In that we take two electrode, cathode and anode, and when we pass electricity through it, then the water molecule will be break down in H minus and O2 plus ion.
H minus तो ब्रेक होता है. H2 में जब ब्रेकडाउन होगा तो इट विल फॉर्म इन H plus and H plus ना. अब मैं H minus बोला.
H plus and O minus. So H plus go on cathode and it will be accumulate, and O plus go on anode. And the amount of hydrogen gas will be much than oxygen.
No. Obvious side just.
Through the electrolysis process, when we take the water and electric current pass through it, then the 2H2O get broken down into 2H2 plus O2, in which hydrogen is a positive charge, so it is attracted by the negative charge, which is cathode, and O minus is a negatively charged, so it is attracted by the positively charged anode.
Then overall the reaction क्या बने form करेगा?
जब कंबाइन कर देंगे
हाँ तो overall at anode क्या form करेगा?
एनोड ये H2 गैस
How?
anode positive charge, so it will produce O2 minus negatively charged.
And other क्या cathode?
Cathode is negatively charged, so it attract the positively charged, which is H2 plus.
H2 hydrogen gas ना. That means वहाँ पे कौन सा gas मिलेगा? Hydrogen gas मिलेगा.
Hydrogen gas.
Okay, then just उसको tell जब ये रिएक्शन होता है तो यहाँ पे हाइड्रोजन गैस का अमाउंट ज्यादा होता है सल्फर टू ऑक्सीजन गैस. ऐसा क्यों?
Because the molecule of hydrogen gas in water is maximum than oxygen.
कितना मैक्सिमम होता है?
यहाँ पे H2 है, वाटर हाइड्रोजन का 2 मॉलिक्यूल और ऑक्सीजन का 1 मॉलिक्यूल प्रेजेंट है.
हाँ तो यानी कि यहाँ पे हाइड्रोजन का 2 मैक्सिमम अमाउंट है ना यहाँ पे. Okay, just next, just tell me the activity of the decomposition of a silver chloride. Yes, what will you tell?
Silver chloride decomposes in the presence of sunlight. That is called photodecomposition to form silver and chlorine gas is released, which is grey in color, and silver chloride is colorless, white in color.
What? Now next, just tell me about can you tell me about the photodecomposition reaction of a hydrogen peroxide H2O2 का photodecomposition होगा तो क्या फॉर्म करेगा? किसी को पता है क्या यहाँ पे? No. Just tell me about what is a exothermic and endothermic reaction. Yes, well बताओ.
Exothermic reaction is defined as the in which reaction heat is released in high amount, and the endothermic reaction is that reaction in which we give heat from outside. This is an endothermic reaction.
Example.
Endothermic reaction is that calcium oxide plus water, calcium hydroxide plus heat, and endothermic reaction is that respiration. Sorry. Endothermic reaction is that the photosynthesis reaction.
Can you tell me the chemical reaction you want?
Yes, sir. 6CO2 plus H2, then it forms C6H6 plus 6.
Just repeat it once more.
6CO2 plus H2.
फिर आप फिर से बताओ मैं क्या रिएक्शन
Reaction is that water or carbon dioxide
in the presence of sunlight कौन बोलेगा in the presence of sunlight
in the presence of sunlight, it forms
तो
C6H6.
सनलाइट की फॉर्मूला यहाँ पे एंडोथर्मिक रिएक्शन होता है तभी तो ये बाहर से ऑब्जर्व किया जा रहा है ना नो नेक्स्ट सो you have to just explain an activity where a copper from a copper sulfate solution is displaced by iron how and what is the type of reaction it is and I am asking about the Fe plus CuSO4 okay just I will बताओ
As we know that CuSO4, where Cu which is copper and Fe is iron. Through the reactivity series, we know that iron is more reactive than copper, and when the copper sulfate is blue in color, and when we dissolve iron, then iron will displace the copper and it will form ferrous sulfate with the copper. So there is a change of color take place in which the solution color change from blue to green and the formation of FeSO4 take place and Cu get deposited.
Okay, good. Now, who will tell? अब जिसको आता है आंसर आवाज का reactivity series with an example. The question is how can you prove?
Silver and gold. So if alkali metal get reacted with oxygen, like the example of potassium, when it is reacted with potassium oxide, which is highly reactive in air. So we can say that the most reactive metal topmost side, where over the bottom side, we take a gold, which is very less reactive. Means it is not reactive with oxygen in its extreme temperature also, and normally it corrodes where the blackish layer form on the gold, but it is very less reactive, and silver is also less reactive, and it is also not react at the high temperature. So that we put the less reactive metal at the lower side and we put the highly reactive on the upper side.
Okay. So it can also be explained on the basis of water as a solvent. या ना आपको पता है कि केमिस्ट्री का जो सबसे हमेशा हम एक बेस की बात करते हैं ठीक है तो आज जितना भी सॉल्यूशन आपका है ओके तो सबका एक बेस है वाटर एज अ सॉल्वेंट ओके जिसे हम क्या बोलते हैं ये एसिटिक एसिड इज अ वीक एसिड है ना और ये एसिड वीक है तो ऑन व्हाट बेसिस क्योंकि हम इसे डिसॉल्व किए वाटर में डिसॉल्व किए हैं और अगर हम इस सॉल्वेंट को अगर चेंज करते हैं इफ यू टेक अ सॉल्वेंट अमोनिया आपको पता है यही एसिटिक एसिड जो वीक एसिड था आपका एक कंप्लीट एसिड फॉर्म कर देता है यानी कि यहाँ पे जो आपका जो बेस है आपका सॉल्वेंट ये यहाँ इंपॉर्टेंट है अगर मैं सॉल्वेंट को तो पता आपको पता है पूरी केमिस्ट्री का फॉर्मूला चेंज हो जाएगा ओके ना सो ये एक बस एक इंफॉर्मेशन था आपके लिए नाउ नेक्स्ट आप मुझे बताओ व्हाट इज द डिस्प्लेसमेंट रिएक्शन प्रतिरोध
In displacement reaction, one compound which is highly reactive is displaced by those compound which is least reactive.
Okay, example.
Example that when FeSO4 reacts with CuSO4, then it will produce CuSO4 plus Fe.
आप एग्जांपल में डबल डिस्प्लेसमेंट कर दे रहे हो ये डिस्प्लेसमेंट मतलब सिंगल डिस्प्लेसमेंट है सिंगल डिस्प्लेसमेंट रिएक्शन जहाँ पे एक एलिमेंट होगा और एक और सेकंड एलिमेंट का उसका सॉल्यूशन फॉर्म होगा उसका सॉल्ट फॉर्म होगा एंड दोनों का रिएक्शन होगा एंड वन प्रोडक्ट विल डिस्प्लेस द अदर है ना बताओ ऐसा एग्जांपल याद नहीं आता ये सॉल्व में होगा
Its example is where iron plus copper sulfate it will form FeSO4 plus Cu.
Okay, good. Now, what is a double displacement reaction?
In the presence of the compound, the two elements two element displace their element at each other. It is known as double displacement reaction. Example, NaCl, BaCl2 plus Na2SO4. It forms BaSO4 plus NaCl.
Can you tell that it is a exchange of ion reaction? Ion exchange reaction क्या ऐसे बोल सकते हैं क्या? Double displacement reaction को? Yes or no? Is it a ion exchange reaction? True or false?
No sir, you know that.
Anybody? Yes, right.
So it is called as ion reaction.
Ion exchange reaction, huh?
Yes, so it is written in NCERT.
Okay, good. Now, next, you have to explain the activity of barium chloride with sodium sulfate solution. Fatma, just tell.
If we react barium chloride with sodium sulfate, then it will displace the sodium and it will form barium sulfate plus sodium chloride.
And just tell me about the precipitate form here.
Here precipitate is BaSO4, that is barium sulfate.
Okay. Now, just tell me about what happens when copper sulfate reacts with ammonium hydroxide.
Repeat question.
Copper sulfate and ammonium hydroxide.
When copper sulfate react with ammonium hydroxide, it form copper hydroxide or ammonium sulfate.
What is the formula for ammonium sulfate? Can you tell? Formula for ammonium sulfate. NH4SO4 or a whole twice.
NH4SO4
SO4 whole twice and NH4 whole twice.
NH4 का whole twice SO4.
Now, next, you have to just cite this example, give an example of oxidation and reduction reaction or a redox reaction in which you have to tell both reaction of oxidation and reduction both वहाँ पे होना चाहिए. उसमें से एक ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट कौन सा है, रिड्यूस इसमें कौन सा है आपको बताना है. ओके, बताओ.
We take the example as copper oxide, in which when copper oxide heated, the copper oxide form.
I am giving an example. आपने क्या सुनो. Fe2O3 plus aluminum आपने किया. ठीक है.
This is thermite reaction.
क्या फॉर्म करेगा? क्या फॉर्म?
It will form Al2O3 plus 3Fe. And
इसमें से आप मुझे बताओ इसमें ऑक्सीडेशन रिएक्शन कहाँ कहाँ होता है?
here Fe get reduced because there is removal of hydrogen, removal of oxygen, and in aluminium addition of oxygen takes place. So aluminium getting oxidized, it is reducing agent, where Fe gets reduced, so it is oxidizing agent. They are called as thermite reaction or also redox reaction.
That means यहाँ पे जो Fe2O3 फॉर्म किया है, ये ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट है, रिड्यूसिंग एजेंट है.
Fe2O3 reducing Fe reducing agent.
Fe2O3.
Fe2O3.
Yes.
Red-
जो मैंने रिएक्टेंट साइड में लिया था Fe2O3 प्लस Al जो मैंने लिया था, यहाँ पे जो आपका Fe2O3 है, वो आपको ऑक्सीडाइजिंग एजेंट है, रिड्यूसिंग एजेंट है.
oxidizing agent.
ओके. एंड रिड्यूसिंग यहाँ पे कौन सा हो जाएगा? एल्युमिनियम हो जाएगा.
Aluminium.
ओके, ठीक है. नाउ let's look at Fatima understand what is a corrosion.
Corrosion is a slow eating metal in which slow eating metal by the air or water. It means it get rust.
Fatima will just give example of rusting of iron.
When iron get rust, then Fe plus O it will form Fe2O3.
Yes.
When iron will react with oxygen and water, Fe plus oxygen plus H2O, then it will form Fe2O3.
Yes.
Rusting of iron, Fe plus O2 plus H2O, it forms Fe2O3 dot X2O.
Yes. Right.
Corrosion is a reaction in which the slowly eating of metal surface with the with the conversion of it into oxide, carbonate or sulfide with the action of atmospheric moisture and air. It is called as corrosion. And in the if we take the iron, then it is called as rusting of iron, and in the silver it is called as, in the tin it is called as timing. And when the acid get reacted with oxygen, it forms ferrous oxide, and then ferrous oxide reacted with oxygen, it forms Fe2O3, and if we put it into open air, then it will react with air and it form a brown layer of Fe2O3 dot H2O. Because we don't know how much molecule get attached with it, so that's why we use as a variable X for the H2O molecule.
Okay. So आप मुझे बताओ about the rusting of copper. कौन बताएगा? आपको नहीं पता सर? इस बात में बताओ.
Copper is said to be rust when in open air it is kept. Then copper reacts with CO2 plus O2 plus H2O. Then it will form copper carbonate and copper hydroxide.
Okay.
Where copper carbonate gets, because of the copper carbonate, it gets a green coating layer. The rusting of copper.
Okay. So in this statement about what are the necessary conditions for a corrosion? Corrosion का necessary condition क्या है? किसी एलिमेंट्स का?
When it is freely suspended in air.
तो क्या जितने भी यहाँ पे हमारे एलिमेंट्स हैं सभी फ्री सस्पेंडेड से उनकी corrosion हो जाएगा?
No.
तो फिर आप कैसे कह सकते हैं?
We will check with the many type of other reactions or process. Like that iron is oxidized in the open air.
Okay, और क्या बताओ? Just tell me about the rusting of silver. क्या rusting of silver ऑक्सीजन के प्रेजेंस में होता है?
What type of droplets to protect?
No. और बताओ? ये साइड बताओ.
Silver get rust in the presence of sulfuric acid, and it forms AgSO4.
और आप बताओ पात्र.
Silver get rusted with sulfur to form silver sulfide, which is
बड़ा फेमस कंपाउंड है H2S, हाइड्रोजन सल्फाइड. Ag plus H2S क्या फॉर्म करता है? बताओ.
silver sulfide plus.
ये था corrosion वही है ना सिल्वर का जो ब्लैक कलर फॉर्म कर जाता है. Okay. Now, Pratibha will tell about the corrosion in lead. कैसे होता है? अगर lead में corrosion हो, तो उसमें क्या changes देखने को मिलेगा?
It will become brown in color.
या फिर वो अपना lustrous हो देगा?
Yeah, it will lose its luster properties, hence it not shine and it will become brown in color.
Now, Sai will just tell what is rancidity.
Rancidity is a process in which the fat and oil present in the food, it gets oxidized, and the change in smell and change in taste take place, which is called as rancidity.
White अगर मुझे बताओ पैक फूड को नाइट्रोजन गैस में ही क्यों रखा जाता है? बता सकते हैं?
Because nitrogen is a good antioxidant, and likely the example of antioxidant is BHA, BHT, butyl hydrogen, and D I forgot about it.
Actually ये तो आपके सिलेबस में नहीं है, बट आपने बताया उसके लिए ठीक है, आपने ट्राई किया. जैसे आप मुझे बताओ rancidity.
Butyl hydrogen anisole.
Okay. आप मुझे बताओ सर about the अगर आप सनलाइट में किसी भी फूड को रखोगे तो क्या होगा?
If you put the food in the presence of sunlight, it gets oxidized and it results in the bad taste and smell.
तो यानी कि rancidity का मतलब rancidity करने का मतलब क्या होता है?
Rancidity is a process in which food particles get oxidized it become result in bad taste.
इसी में एक और क्वेश्चन ये भी है ना कि वी शुड नॉट कीप सोर्स सब्सटेंसेस लाचा और पिकल्स वगैरह इन एल्युमिनियम फॉइल व्हाई
Because if you put the pickles in aluminum foil, then aluminum foil is reactive metal and it get with aluminum foil and become
और
very
बताइए
transparent.
इस क्वेश्चन को फिर से करेंगे व्हाई शुड वी नॉट यस पर
We should not preserve pickle in aluminum foil because aluminum is a highly reactive element and therefore it reacts with the acid present in the pickles and to form poisonous substance.
ओके ना कुछ एनसीईआरटी क्वेश्चंस लेते हैं ठीक है ना फर्स्ट क्वेश्चन एनसीईआरटी का व्हाई शुड अ मैग्नीशियम रिबन बी क्लीन बिफोर इट इज बर्न इन एयर बताओ
Because before that layer of oxide is being on magnesium, so we clean it to remove the layer of oxide from it.
हाँ तो सही है और क्या बताएगा चलो ठीक है नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन अ सॉल्यूशन ऑफ द सब्सटेंस X is used for a white washing आपको पता है कौन सा है पता चल गया होगा नेक्स्ट name the substance X and what is formula and what are the reaction when it reacts with water इसका डिस्कस कई बार हो चुका है प्रतिभा आप मुझे बताओ
Please repeat the question.
I am just telling about a solution X है ना it is used for a white washing ठीक है and what happens when it react with water
White washing. It is bleaching powder. Sir,
washing soda first में सारा वॉश करते हैं yes बात में बताओ
the substance is calcium oxide, and when its formula is CaO, and when it reacts with water, it forms the calcium hydroxide, which is CaO.
okay now the next question why does the color of a copper sulfate solution changes when an iron nail is dipped in it side में
Because as we know from the reactivity stage that iron is more reactive than copper, so iron will displace the copper sulfate solution and it will displace copper to form ferrous sulfate with copper, and the solution of color change from blue to green, and the mud of copper deposited under the as a precipitate.
okay could you tell in the refining of silver the recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution involve displacement by copper metal okay and what is the chemical reaction involved here
So, repeat the question.
in the refining of metal in the refining of silver ठीक है the recovery of silver from silver nitrate solution involve the displacement by copper metal what is the reaction involved here
The displacement reaction is involved where when we react silver nitrate with the copper. Copper is more reactive than the silver, and copper react with the nitrate and it forms copper nitrate and AZ get deposited.
and what is the chemical equation here
AgNO3 plus Cu. It forms CuNO3 plus Ag.
now last question of this chapter for science a shiny brown color element X on heating it air become black in color name the element X and the black colored compound form
That is copper, which is when get reacted with oxygen it forms copper oxide, and it change its color from brown to black.
अब नेचर पे मूव करते हैं अब रेस्ट और पानी भी Okay, shall we start the next chapter? Acid bases of salt. Okay. So first question is for Fatima. Just tell what is an acid?
Acid are those substances which are sour in taste and it dissociates in aqueous solution to give H+ ions. It turns blue litmus to red.
Just explain the redness story.
Arrhenius says that when the acid dissolves in water, it gets released H+, and when base dissolve in water, it get released hydroxide ion.
Okay. Then just tell me about the characteristics of acids. Soil.
The acid give the ion H plus ion in the solution, and acid is bitter in acid is sour in taste, and acid give the color from blue litmus to red.
और कोई नहीं पता लिटमस के बारे में मुझे बता दिया फिर ये बता दो कि इनको इंडिकेटर में क्या चेंज हो सकता है
Acid give through the litmus paper, acid give the color from the blue litmus to red.
कौन सा सॉल्यूशन
If we check with the solution of calcium hydroxide.
चलो साइड just tell me about what are the mineral acids
What are the
mineral acids inorganic acids example मुझे बताओ
inorganic acid such as
इनऑर्गेनिक मतलब यहाँ पे कार्बन का इन्वॉल्वमेंट नहीं होगा
yes, ZnCO3
अरे एसिड का नाम बताना नॉट सॉल्ट का
and
बहुत सारे एसिड जो हम यूज करते हैं ये बात बताओ
HCl, H2SO4, HNO3.
और एक बार बता दो यस
H3PO4.
ऑर्गेनिक एसिड्स के बारे में बताओ कौन बताएगा यस मैं बताऊं
organic acids are those substances in which the carbon involvement in the compound such as CH3COOH, acetic acid, or such as methanol, ethanol,
इथेनॉल एसिड नहीं है
no, acetic acid and formic acid.
व्हाट आर द मोनो बेसिक एसिड बता पाओ
Monobasic.
मोनो बेसिक एसिड्स का नाम मुझे बताओ
Monobasic example is HCl, hydrochloric acid, HNO3, nitric acid.
ओके व्हाट आर द डायबेसिक एसिड्स बताओ
H2SO4, sulfuric acid.
कैसे आपको पता चलेगा डायबेसिक एसिड है
Because here the ion of H+ ion is into.
चलो जस्ट सॉरी बताओ व्हाट इज डायबेसिक एसिड
Triacetic acid is P3 is suppose.
व्हाट
P3 is
ये कौन सा एसिड होता है और क्या बताओ यस राइट
H3PO4.
Now, next, how can you justify an acid on the basis of their strength? Strong acids को कैसे आप बता सकते हो कि ये acid strong है on the basis of their strength? कौन बताएगा? Yes, बताओ कुछ।
We classify acid as a strong. When we dissolve acid in water, it get dissipated more H+ ion. Then we identify that acid is and completely ionized in water.
Yes, that means यहाँ पे क्या होता है? It have the 100% dissociation ना? Weak acids कैसे classify करोगे?
Weak acid completely not dissociate in water.
ठीक है। Example?
Acetic acid.
ठीक है। Now next, what are the bases? बताओ।
Bases are those substances which it changed the color of red litmus into blue.
और फिर बता सकता हूँ what is the earliest theory?
According to Ernest theory tells that if a base is dissolved in water, then OH minus is its ion, so we classify it as a base.
Okay. Just tell finally, what are the monoacidic bases?
The monoacidic base are those which have only means one ion of OH minus. That is
OH minus को क्या कहते हैं?
hydroxide.
Hydroxide.
Its example is potassium hydroxide or sodium hydroxide.
Okay. And what are the diacidic bases?
Diacidic base which contains two hydroxide ion like MgS double twice.
Now last is इसमें जो strong acid और strong base and weak base को कैसे classify करेंगे? मतलब इसका concentration जैसे ही बताओ.
Strong base.
Strong base and weak base.
We can classify strong base on the basis of its OH minus hydroxide ion dissolution. The strong bases are completely associated in water and it produces more hydroxide ion in aqueous solution, whereas weak base produce less amount of hydroxide ion in aqueous solution.
Example दे सकते हो?
Example for like milk of magnesia, MgOH2, which is a strong base where it produces more OH minus ions in the aqueous solution.
Sir,
Yes.
milk of magnesia and copper hydroxide is not a strong base, it is a weak base. Strong base is sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide.
Okay. Now, just tell me a term called concentrated and dilute. इन दो टर्म के बीच क्या डिफरेंस है? कौन बताएगा? कुछ तो बताओ पहले.
When there is no mixture of water in the acid, it is known as concentrated acid. And when the small amount of or large amount of mixture of water in acid is known as dilute acid.
Okay. Now next, you have to tell about the indicators. Okay. कौन बताएगा? सारे indicators के बारे में कौन बता सकते हो? सारे indicators के बारे में total. Yes, will बताओ.
Indicators is classified into four types. First, natural indicator. Natural indicator is an example of red cabinet, flower, and second is synthetic indicator. The indicator which is synthesized in the factory is known as synthetic indicator. Phenolphthalein methyl oil. And third one is the
आपको ये भी बताना पड़ेगा कि इसमें क्या है, कलर चेंज आते हैं. वो फैक्ट्री इंडिकेटर आपको नहीं बताया है.
yes sir. Or factory indicator is a type of indicator which we taste with their smell. That is onion, vanilla. Is an example for factory indicators.
आप मुझे बताओ जब इन सॉल्यूशन को एसिड में जब डिप करेंगे तो क्या चेंज होगा? वन लेवल सब कुछ बताना है आपको. आपको एग्जांपल बताना है कि फैक्ट्री में क्या चेंज आएगा, लिटमस में क्या चेंज आएगा, इंटरनल में क्या चेंज आएगा और फैक्ट्री इंडिकेटर में क्या चेंज आएगा जब एसिड को डिप करेंगे.
When the litmus paper dip in acid, then it give color red, that is acid in nature. And if we vanilla give in the add in the acid, then it smell. It gives the smell in olfactory indicators. And third one is synthetic indicator is phenolphthalein. When it is added with, then it gives the acidic smell.
और क्या बताओगे? यस
Clove oil and methyl orange. In acid, methyl orange get red color, and in base it appears yellow color. And clove oil, it gives the order in acidic solution, but it does not give order in basic solution.
और क्या बताएगा? आप मुझे बताओ बेसिस में ऐड करेंगे तो क्या होगा? साइड बताओ.
Like there is an example of litmus paper when the red litmus paper added in it, then it will change the red litmus paper into blue.
और बताओ. अगर मैंने फ्लॉप दे दिया तो क्या चेंज आएगा?
When we put it into phenolphthalein, it changes into purple. And
पर्पल हो जाएगा फिर अंदर।
no, it is in universal indicator, it changes into purple. And
फिनोल्फथलीन में क्या चल जाएगा?
phenolphthalein में बेस आ गई तो
हाँ।
नहीं पता है।
यस।
In base phenoxyl appear pink color.
इतना रिएक्शन यस about the methyl origin क्या चेंज आएगा एक्चुअली बिजनेस
If in methyl origin we take acid, then it will be color. It will be red in color, and in base it will be yellow in color.
now next वो कम कर रहा है your the spin activity in which a reaction of base with metal occur कौन बताएगा reaction of base with metal with example yes
When we react zinc with sodium hydroxide, it forms sodium zincate plus H2.
example
Example,
formula
Zn plus NaOH, it forms Na2ZnO2 plus H2.
now you tell me what happens when acid reacts with metal carbonate with example yes what
When acid reacts with metal carbonate, then it forms CO2, H2O, and salt of that metal. If we take the example of HCl and sodium bicarbonate, NaCO3, then it will form NaCl plus H2O plus CO2.
Okay, good. Now next, what happens when calcium carbonate में अगर हम HCl को ऐड करें तो क्या होने वाला है? कौन बताएगा? Yes, मैं बोल रहा हूँ।
When we add HCl in calcium carbonate, then it will form calcium chloride plus H2O plus CO2.
Okay, good. Now tell me about the neutralization reaction. Sorry,
Repeat, sir.
neutralization reaction क्या होता है?
Neutralization reaction is a type of reaction in which acid reacts with base, then it forms R2+2.
Example बता दो जल्दी से।
Example is that NaOH plus HCl, NaCl plus H2O.
Okay. Now you have to tell about the reaction of metal oxide with acid. An example. Yes, sir. That's right.
When metal oxide gets react with acid, it forms salt plus water. Like example, metal oxide is NaO and it react with HCl, it forms NaCl plus H2O.
अच्छा आपको एक बात याद होगा जब भी सोडियम रिएक्ट करता है तो वो अपना रेसिड्यू नहीं छोड़ता है आपको याद होगा जब वाटर जब उस रिएक्ट किया गया था तो सडनली सोडियम प्लस वाटर डायरेक्टली कन्वर्ट इनटू सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड यहाँ पर ऑक्साइड का फॉर्मेशन नहीं होता क्योंकि ये रिएक्शन ये एलिमेंट क्या काफी फास्ट रिएक्टिव है ना और को बताएगा यस
When copper oxide react with the acid, it forms copper chloride and H2O.
ठीक है नेक्स्ट ना आपको करना है रिएक्शन ऑफ नॉन मेटल ऑक्साइड विद बेस कौन बताएगा रिएक्शन ऑफ नॉन मेटेलिक ऑक्साइड विद बेस यस सर
Like this non-metal oxide as NO2, which react with base like NaOH, and when NO2 react with NaOH, it forms sodium nitrate with H2O.
और फिर बताएगा यस सर
We take calcium hydroxide plus CO2, which is a non-metallic oxide, and
क्या
calcium
बनेगा
hydroxide.
प्रोडक्ट
It will be form CaCO3 plus H2O.
Now next, what are the activity of the experiment activity in which an aqueous solution is taken, okay, and वहाँ पे आपको ये बताना है कि आपके पास एक एसिड मिला है, ठीक है, एक आपको ग्लूकोज मिला है, एक अल्कोहल मिला है, ना कोई बेस मिला है, तो ये चार सब्सटेंस आप कैसे जस्टिफाई कर सकते हो कि which will conduct electricity and how? Yes, my job.
Acid and base will be conduct electricity because it have iron, H plus and OH minus. And ethanol and glucose didn't consist any iron so that they can't conduct electricity.
Okay. Sai, you just tell me about the reaction in which a dry acid gas occurs.
Firstly, we take an NaCl sodium chloride in a test tube, and then we add H2SO4 in the beaker, and then when H2SO4 gets reacted with NaCl, then it forms Na2SO4 plus HCl. We can prove that HCl gas evolved from it by taking one dry litmus and one moist litmus paper. And when we take it near, then the moist litmus paper has contain ions, so it will get reacted with HCl, and the litmus paper color change from blue to yellow, blue to red. So we can say that the HCl gas produced from the solution.
Dry acid gas is produced. Yes, so you just tell me why dry acid gas does not give the litmus solution test.
Yes, sir.
ड्राई एसिड गैस होता है ना लिटमस सोल्यूशन टेस्ट में दे पाते हैं
Because dry litmus paper didn't उसके पास वो ions नहीं होते.
आगे बताइए. यस.
In dry litmus paper, there is no, sorry, in dry HCl does not give any color of litmus paper because it does not have any ions to, so whether it is acidic or basic, so it will behave as a neutral, therefore it will not show any color of litmus paper.
Then why wet litmus paper give the test? Yes, कुछ बताओ.
Wet litmus paper give the test because it contains hydronium ion.
And how hydrogen ion is formed?
No, when hydrogen ion of acid react with the water, it forms hydronium ion. H
plus
plus H2O, it forms H3O plus.
Okay. This कब बताएगा? Yes, सोलह बताओ. What are the importance of pH? pH होता है क्या? इसका importance क्या है?
pH is a type of scale which shows that the base, the neutral and the acid. Means which the pH of base is above the 7 to 14 and the pH of acid is below the 7 to 0, 1, 4. And in the more acidic we find that near the 1 to 2 and the more basic we found that the 12 to 14 and the neutral is at the 7 pH.
Okay. Just tell me what is the full form of pH? pH का full form क्या है? Yes, प्रतिभा बोलो. नहीं पता. Yes, I.
Potential of hydrogen.
Okay. And who discovered the pH scale? Name the scientist. मालूम किसी को? किसी को नहीं पता. His name was S.P.L. Sorensen. Right? Next. Now you have to tell the importance of pH in everyday life. First you have to tell about the importance of pH in our digestive system. ठीक है, start करते हैं. प्रतिभा बोल रहा.
In our digestion system, the pH is acidic. It is about 2 because HCl is produced there.
बस यही. Yes, sir.
It is very surprising to know that in our digestion, HCl gas, which is hydrochloric acid, very reactive in nature, it is produced through our gastric gland and help in the digestion. In the process of indigestion, more HCl produced, due to which the irritation and pain causing, which is called as acidity. To prevent the acidity, we used mild base such as baking soda and milk of magnesia to prevent the acidity.
Okay, very good. Now आप मुझे बताओ, how are the treatment of acidic or basic soil occur? अगर आपका सॉइल एसिडिक हो गया है, then how it can be treated? Let's find more.
Usually when soil gets more acidic, then farmers put limestone, spread limestone all around because limestone is basic in nature.
Limestone स्प्रे करते हैं, फिर क्विक लाइम स्प्रे करते हैं।
Limestone.
लाइमस्टोन का फॉर्मूला कैल्शियम कार्बोनेट होता है, यस और नो?
Yes, sir.
और क्विक लाइम स्प्रे करते हैं ना?
Then it is basic in nature and soil is acidic, then neutralization reaction will occur and
सॉइल एसिडिक कैसे हो जाता होगा?
it gets acidic, we can say due to acid rain.
नहीं, ऐसा तो हर जगह से इतना नहीं होता, फिर भी सॉइल एसिडिक हो जाता है। कोई बताएगा? यस है।
It mainly occurs due to the use of fertilizers or pesticides as oily seeds.
आप मुझे बताओ, pH of a cow's tooth decay.
Mainly our tooth have pH between 7 to 7.8, and normally the tooth decay occurs because some of the food particles remain in our mouth attached, and in our mouth the bacteria are present which will react with the food particles or sugar, and it produce yellow acid over its surface. That's why tooth enamel occur at the pH range below than 5.5, due to which the best method to prevent the tooth enamel is to use toothpaste every day and at morning and night, which can neutralize the reaction.
Now, let's talk about the self-defense that a plant has. Yes, Fatima.
That plant is nettle. It has self-defense system because it produces formic acid, that is methanoic acid, to prevent itself from its enemy. If we touch it, we feel irritation and a burning sense, and we can utilize it by a mild base like milk of magnesia or baking soda.
Okay. Now, just tell me about any example of animals, insects. आप बताओ।
Bees.
हाँ, क्या होता है?
Bees generally, when bees duck us, that it will produce formic acid. Will produce formic acid in our skin, which harm us. So for preventing for them, we use some bases which work as anti-acid on it.
आपने बोला फॉर्मिक एसिड और मिथानोइक एसिड सेम अलग है।
Same
फॉर्मूला क्या है?
formula.
Yes, sir.
Formic acid formula is HCWH.
ओके, ये आपका एसिड का पहला है, कार्बोक्सिलिक एसिड का पहला मेंबर होमोलोगस सीरीज का, है ना? नाउ अब आपको बताना है जहाँ पे आपका एक एसिडिक सॉल्ट फॉर्म कर, यूज एन एग्जांपल। यस, कुछ बताओ। जहाँ पे आपका एसिडिक सॉल्ट बने, जैसे कि आप जानते हो कि एसिड प्लस बेस इक्वल टू सॉल्ट प्लस वाटर होता है ना? तो आप ऐसा कौन सा रिएक्टेंट में से कौन सा प्रोडक्ट लोगे, क्या लोगे आप रिएक्टेंट में ऐसा जो कि आपका एसिडिक सॉल्ट फॉर्म हो?
When we react HCl with magnesium hydroxide, it forms chlorine hydroxide plus H2.
आपने गलत बताया क्योंकि आपने एक स्ट्रॉन्ग बेस यहाँ पे ले लिया, ठीक है? और क्या बताओ, यहाँ पे आपको क्या करना है? स्ट्रॉन्ग एसिड लेना है और एक वीक बेस लेना है ना? यस।
If we take strong acid and weak base, then the product will form acidic. We take
Example.
an example of HCl, which is highly acidic, and base is acetic acid, CH3COO. Then it forms the product in acidic acid.
आपने एसिड कौन सा लिया?
HCl,
और बेस
acetic acid,
बेस भी एसिडिक एसिड
base, जो सब base है.
ओके बताओ यस सर
When HCl get reacted with ammonia, then it produce ammonium chloride plus H2O.
ओके बताइए यस
When we react HCl with ammonium hydroxide, which is a weak base, and HCl is a strong acid, then it will produce ammonium chloride plus H2O. That is acidic sound.
ठीक है सेम आंसर नाउ नेक्स्ट अब मैं आपको बताना है वेयर अ न्यूट्रल सॉल्ट इज फॉर्म यस बात को बताओ एक न्यूट्रल सॉल्ट बनना चाहिए
So we have to take either strong base or strong acid or either weak base or weak acid. So here we can take HCl plus NaOH and it will form NaCl plus H2O, which is a neutral salt.
नाउ नेक्स्ट मूव करते हैं अपने सॉल्ट्स की तरफ यहाँ पे फर्स्ट आपको एक्सप्लेन करना है एक्सप्लेन दैट लो एल्कली प्रोसेस कुछ तो बताओ
When we pass electricity in the aqueous solution of NaCl is known as brine. Firstly, we take a mug or electrode of anode and cathode, and there is a NaCl solution and water. NaCl gets breakdown in the form of the Na plus and Cl minus, and anode is a positively charged terminal and cathode is a negatively charged and terminal. When we add acid, HCl, it get break in form of the H plus and Cl minus, and H plus is a positive and it get attract toward the cathode because cathode is a negative terminal and Cl minus it is a negatively charged particle which get attract with the anode which is a positively charged, and here Cl2 gas released from the anode and H2 gas released from the cathode. It is called as chloralkali process.
अब मेरे बताओ कि कैथोड में कौन सा गैस यूज होता है
H2 gas,
एनोड में
chlorine gas.
फाइनल प्रोडक्ट क्या बनता है
Final product base NaCl plus H2O ये फॉर्म करेगा NaOH plus H2 plus Cl.
सोडियम हाइड्रोक्साइड निकलता है
Sodium hydroxide.
नाउ साइड बताओ फॉर्मेशन ऑफ ब्लीचिंग पाउडर
Formation of bleaching powder, we take the select lime CaOH fold by 2, which is react with the chlorine that form calcium oxychloride and with the H2O. Use भी बताना है.
आगे बताओ
Bleaching powder is yellowish white and it is used as bleach cotton, linen in textile industry. It is used to rendering wool unshrinkable. And bleaching powder is used to manufacture chloroform. Bleaching powder is used in disinfecting the drinking water free from germs. And bleaching powder produces chlorine gas. It is used to cleaning the swimming pools.
यस
Bleaching powder is also used in chemical industries for oxidizing agent and paper industries.
नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट आर द मेथड्स ऑफ प्रिपरेशन ऑफ बेकिंग सोडा बाद में बताओ
First we take NaCl plus NH3 plus CO2 plus H2O, then it will form sodium hydrogen carbonate and ammonium chloride. Then this sodium hydrogen carbonate is known as baking soda.
ओके देन इन द मेथड दैट इज मैन्युफैक्चरिंग उस प्रोसेस का नाम क्या है
To make baking soda
यस
or washing soda.
सॉल्वेंट ना सॉल्वेंट प्रोसेस
It is for washing soda. Solvent process.
बट सॉल्वेंट का फर्स्ट स्टेप में ही फॉर्म करता है तो दोनों का तो मेथड सेम ही है बस वहां पे डिफरेंस इनका होता है थर्ड स्टेप में होता है बट फर्स्ट स्टेप में तो आपका बेकिंग सोडा ही फॉर्म करता है ना नेक्स्ट हाउ अ बेकिंग सोडा इज कन्वर्टेड इनटू बेकिंग पाउडर बताओ
When baking soda NaCO3 is heated, then it will produce Na2CO3, which is baking powder.
यस
It produced when baking soda is added with edible acid such as tartaric acid, then it produces baking powder, which is used in a cake where the CO2 gas evolve, which make the cake fluffy in nature.
ओके अब बताओ सर क्वेश्चन आपसे ये है कि व्हाई केक बिकम फ्लफी कैसे कैसे फ्लफी बन जाता है
Cake become fluffy due to the NaCO3 sodium hydrogen carbonate, that is baking soda, due to which when we add in the food then it become crispy and crunchy.
कैसे बन जाता है तो बात है बॉम्ब के साथ
It formed due to it become the shape of anything, that is cake or pakoda, due to space between them.
यहाँ पे CO2 गैस रिलीज होता है ना कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड गैस रिलीज होता है
Due to CO2 it become in large shape.
और बताओ सही बताओ
When baking soda is added to the cake and we add any edible acid such as tartric acid, then the evolution of CO2 gas take place, which make the cake fluffy in nature.
Now next आपको बताना है the preparation of sodium washing soda ये सोलह बताओ
The preparation of washing soda is due to the solvent process. First of all, we take NaCl plus H2O plus CO2 plus NH3, then it form NaCO3 plus and alcohol. Then from this
NH4 से ना हमारे प्रोडक्ट फॉर्म करते हैं
NH4Cl. Then we take NaCO3 and then we heat this compound, then it form Na2CO3 plus H2O. And when we take Na2CO3 and it take 2 minutes in the air, present of it attracts some moisture from the air and it will get converted into Na2CO3 plus H2O.
ओके एंड who will tell the use of a washing soda बताओ अभी बताओ यूज क्या है
Use of washing soda in the laundry, and it is also used as the cleaning agent. And washing soda is used to make
washing soda is also used for softening of hard water
Yes,
true or
sir.
false
and also it is used in the making of compound.
okay yes
It is also used in the manufacture of soap and detergent, and it is also used as laboratory reagent.
yes
It is also used to form sodium compound like borax.
okay now next what is a water crystallization describe activity कौन बताएगा yes sir बताओ
Water crystallization is the number of water molecules present in the one formaldehyde of salt solution. We can take Na2CO3 and sodium carbonate, which is where we add 10 molecules of H2O, then it form washing soda, which is Na2CO3 dot 10 H2O.
और भी yes sir
We can take another example of copper sulfate crystal, which is blue in color and also known as blue vitriol. And its formula is C4SO4.5H2O, and when it is heated, then its water crystallization that is present in it is removed and it turns into white color. And again, when it is moistened with water, it regains its blue color.
चलो कोई बात मुझे बताओ what is plaster of Paris and how it is prepared
Plaster of Paris is Ca2SO4 dot half H2O. It is used in
CA2 is okay yes बोलो
it is used in preparing the molds, statues. It is also used in cement industry. It also used in
आपने फॉर्मेशन नहीं बताया यूज बताया how it is formed
it is formed from gypsum, which is Ca2SO4 dot 2H2O. When it is heated, then it will form Ca2SO4 dot half H2O.
आपको वैलेंसी याद है कि वैलेंसी क्यों होती है
CaSO4 dot half H2O.
ये किसका फॉर्मूला है
Gypsum.
जिसका फॉर्मूला हाफ एच2 है
नहीं, gypsum का नहीं, ये प्लास्टर ऑफ पेरिस है और gypsum का CaSO4 dot
plus this points.
When we heat gypsum at the 373 Kelvin of temperature, it form plaster of Paris. Where gypsum is a CaSO product 2H2O and plaster of Paris which we form is CaSO product half H2O. Plaster of Paris is used in the treatment of the persons whose bones get fractured, for decoration, to making toys, pot, etc.
Okay. Yes.
Plaster of Paris also used as fireproofing material, and plaster of Paris used in laboratories to fit in the air gaps and make it airtight. It's also used to ornate walls and designing on the walls and ceilings.
Okay, now we will go towards the next chapter. The chapter is metals and non-metal. Okay. So, अब physical property जल्दी से बताओ metals and non-metals का. Start कर दो आप.
Metal are ductile, malleable, lustrous, sonorous. Did I explain all this property?
Yes.
Okay. In lustrous, metal are shining in nature. Ductile, it can be converted into thin wire. Malleable, it can be converted into thin sheet. Sonorous, when it is beaten, then it produces sound.
Yes.
Metal is a good conductor of electricity and it has high melting and boiling point.
Oh. Yes.
Metal has a high density. Example, iridium and osmium have high density, but lithium has low density. It is explosive.
Algo para Julian, yes, sir.
Metal is usually solid at room temperature, and there is an exception, mercury, which is liquid at room temperature 25 degrees Celsius, where cesium and gallium is liquid at above its room temperature 31 degrees Celsius.
So, what is the malleability of a metal?
Malleability of a metal is a metal which is converted into thin sheet.
Example?
Example, gold.
Gold are the most malleable metals. What are the coinless metal? क्या क्या होते हैं? Coinless metal क्या क्या होते हैं? इससे मालूम what are the coinless metal? जिससे coins बनता है. किसी को बोला? Yes, sir.
We usually use in coins is copper.
Copper के अलावा और भी तो?
Copper and
Steel का
steel, zinc and chromium, nickel.
मेन आपका कॉपर है, फिर गोल्ड है या सिल्वर है. ये तीन ही है ना बड़े मेटल, जिसके पहले सिक्का चला करते थे पहले टाइम. नाउ नेक्स्ट, व्हाट इज डक्टिलिटी ऑफ अ मेटल? कौन बताएगा? यस.
Ductility of the metal means when we convert metal into a thin wire.
Example.
Example means silver, copper.
How metals conduct heat? Who will give the answer? How metals conduct heat? Metals heat कैसे conduct करते हैं? इसको आपको एक्सप्लेन करना है on the basis of the vibrational theory of the atoms. Vibrational theory मतलब जैसे कि आपने क्या किया, आपका मेटल सर्कस आपने यहाँ हीट किया, तो ये हीट यहाँ से होते हुए यहाँ पे भी पहुँच जाएगा. कैसे पहुँच जाएगी? जब उसको हीट करते हैं आपका वाइब्रेशन होता है कि नहीं होता है? फिर एनर्जी ट्रांसफर होती है उसके एनर्जी एक्सप्लेन कर रिस्पॉन्स. यस सर बताओ.
Usually we take the examples of metal like potassium. When it is get reacted with oxygen, it produces.
मेरा सवाल नहीं, मेरा सवाल ये है कि आपका मेटल्स कंडक्ट हीट कैसे करता है? यस.
Metal conduct due to the presence of free electron, due to the presence of free
फ्री
electron.
इलेक्ट्रॉन नेटवर्क तो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी कंडक्टिविटी होगी. यहाँ पे ट्रांसफर हीट की बात हो रहा है. हीट का बात है यहाँ पे. ठीक है. यहाँ पे कंडक्शन मतलब तो मुझे पता कंडक्शन क्या होता है. कंडक्शन से होता है हीट का ट्रांसफर फ्रॉम वन पॉइंट टू अनदर पॉइंट. चलो ठीक है. नेक्स्ट ये बताओ व्हाट आर द इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी ऑफ अ मेटल? बताओ सर. इलेक्ट्रिकल कंडक्टिविटी ऑफ अ मेटल क्या है?
electrical conductivity of metal, the metal which is extracted from its core due to the passing electricity through it.
Yes, sir.
Metals which have more number of free electron in it can usually pass electricity from it.
इसमें से क्वेश्चन मैं बताता हूँ why graphite and diamond. Graphite is a different but diamond is not. Why?
Because the graphite have branched into their 3 of electron connected with the other 3 electrons, and 1 electron remain which help to conduct the electricity in graphite. But in the case of diamond, which is a hardest natural substance, it is 3-dimensional shape in which there are 4 electrons get connected with another carbon of 4 electron, due to which the carbon-carbon bond form its strongest. That's why there is no presence of any free electron, so it cannot conduct electricity.
Okay, good. Now next. You have to explain an example in which metal react with oxygen. Yes, Pratibha.
When metal reacts with oxygen, it will form metal oxide.
Example?
When Cu reacts with oxygen, then it will form CuO, which is copper oxide.
Okay, Fatima, so what happens when a metal burn in air to form oxide? Any example in which a metal burn in air?
You can take the example of magnesium. Magnesium when it is burned in oxygen, it forms magnesium oxide.
You just tell me what happens when a metal reacts with water.
It forms metal hydroxide.
Example.
Like Na plus H2 equals to NaOH.
Okay, now next you have to explain about the anodizing of aluminum. Yes, I know.
Anodizing of aluminum is a process in which, in the first time that aluminum get reacted in the presence of oxygen, it form a layer of aluminum oxide, which further help it from the corrosion of aluminum.
Yes, fine.
During anodizing, we take a pure clean aluminum metal and electrolyzed metal at anode and it electrolyzed through sulfuric acid. Then in this reaction, oxygen is evolved which form an oxide layer on the aluminum. This process is called anodizing.
Now next. You have tell one activity in which a reactivity of metals occurs with water. Activity 3.10. Yes, Kuzma.
In this activity, when we react metal with water, it forms metal oxide plus H2. But all metal do not react with all water because different metal react with different water. Like sodium or potassium react with cold water, calcium also react with cold water, but magnesium react with the hot water, and aluminum react with the steam water.
Steam. So, what is the observation of 3.1 activity? This activity क्या observation आपको मिलता है?
We find observation from this activity that all metal do not react with the cold water. Different metal have different properties, and different type of metal react with different type of water.
Different type of water.
Like hot water, steam water, and cold water.
Different states of water, na?
Different states.
Now, you just बताओ slide आप बताओ. You have to explain an activity in which metal react with an acid.
Metal react with
Acid.
we take the example as when metal like Na, which react with acid CH3COOH, then it form sodium acetate. And we can take an example of sodium with HCl. It can form NaCl plus H2, and we take example of potassium with H2SO4, which form potassium sulfate, K2SO4 with H2.
तो आप मुझे बताओ कि why a copper does not react with HCl while it react with nitric acid? कॉपर का रिएक्शन HCl नहीं होता है, लेकिन नाइट्रिक एसिड रिएक्शन का है कॉपर का, ऐसा क्यों?
No idea, sir.
यस बात
Copper does not react with HCl as copper is less reactive than hydrogen. But in the case of nitric acid, it's where HNO3, due to the presence of oxygen, it gets oxidized and therefore it reacts with HNO3.
Okay. Now next, you have to tell about the activity under which a reaction of metal with solution with other metal salt occur. बहुत फेमस एग्जांपल है, जहाँ पे आपको एक मेटल लेना है और वहाँ पे आपको एक रिएक्शन करवाना है मेटल विद द सॉल्यूशन। किसी को पता है?
Metal with
a metal solution। Yes, Kusma।
When we take a iron and in the copper sulfate solution, iron is more reactive than the copper. Then copper iron displaces the copper and it forms ferrous sulfate plus copper.
Okay, size number आप मुझे बताओ about the chemical properties difference between metal and non-metals।
metals are electropositive, then non-metals are electronegative. Metal react with oxygen, form metal oxide, which is basic in nature. Then non-metal react with oxygen that form non-metallic oxide, which is acidic in nature, and some of them are neutral, like carbon monoxide, which is neutral in nature. And metal are good oxidizing agent, then non-metal are good reducing agent. And some of the metals will not react in the some of the metals does not react at the room temperature, but giving heat it will react like Mg, which is react with O2 that form magnesium oxide.
Okay, so आप मुझे बताओ why a sodium chloride has a high
सर बोलो, हाथ उठाइए, ध्यान
Metal
दीजिए।
is not an oxidizing agent. Metal is a reducing agent, and non-metal is an oxidizing agent. And metal is electropositive, and non-metal is electronegative. Metal act as acceptor and act as donor, but non-metal act as acceptor. Metal form ionic bond, while non-metal do not form ionic bond. Metal react with water, while non-metal do not react with water. Metal react with acid to evolve H2 gas, while non-metal do not react with acid.
Okay, just आपसे एक और क्वेश्चन आप मुझे बताओ कि what is the difference between a covalent and an ionic bond?
In covalent bond, there is sharing of electron between two elements, and in ionic bond, it is a complete transfer of electron from donor element to acceptor element. Ionic bond is more stronger than covalent bond, and the boiling and melting point of ionic compound is high, while the boiling and melting point of covalent compound is low. In ionic compound, it consists of ions, while in covalent compound, it consists of molecules. In ionic compound, when undergo any reaction, then it will form ionic reaction. But in
ionic reaction
means it mainly forms between metal and non-metal, while covalent bond forms between mainly carbon compound and any other electron.
non-metals, any non-metals.
Any non-metals.
Okay. Now next question for Swell. Why sodium chloride has a high melting point?
Sodium chloride have high melting point because of it has a high force of attraction between the side, that is Na plus and Cl minus. It together form a high electrostatic force that makes it high melting point.
Okay, ठीक है। अब next एक ऐसा टॉपिक है that is metallurgy और occurrence of metal। आपको पता है ये केमिस्ट्री का मतलब कि मेटलर्जिकल साइंस का, स्पेशली मैं अगर बात करूं जो लोग माइनिंग इंजीनियरिंग करते हैं बीटेक में, उनका सबसे बेसिक चैप्टर है ये, जो स्टार्टिंग से होता है। सो आप पांचों में से मुझे कोई इस पूरे चैप्टर का हर एक पॉइंट का डिस्क्रिप्शन कौन दे पाएगा? ये साइड नंबर
Firstly, in the occurrence of metal, we know that all ores are minerals, but all minerals are not ore. And in the earth crust, we found mostly aluminium and oxygen, which is richly present on the earth crust. So, for minerals are the elementary state of the compound in which the metal occur in the nature, as called minerals. Where ores are those metals, ores are those metals which are convertibly and profitably extracted, and those are called as ores. And for the extraction of ores, we take the three process: crushing and grinding. Then there is a concentration of ore. Sorry, four process: crushing and grinding, or concentration of ore, and then there is a roasting and calcination, and then there is a refining of ore. Then first there is a crushing and grinding. In the crushing and grinding, most of the ores are present in the rock state. So through the crusher, we crush them into small rocks, and with the help of by grinding, we convert them into fine powders with the help of stamp mill, and it is also called as pulverization of ore. And then through the concentration of ore, mostly the mines of under the earth crust, they extract the ores with the presence of impurities such as sand and soil, and the separation of they are called as gangue particle, and the separation of gangue particle from that is called as concentration of ore. Then there is a extraction in which there is roasting and calcination. Roasting is a process in which
I'm stopping you. Just tell me about the indiciment of ore, individual concentration of ore. You should just explain some methods like fourth
yes, sir.
method.
In the indiciment of ore, we take the gravity separation, which is, and then there is a force flotation and magnetic separation. Gravity separation is the method based on the difference on the basis of their density of impurities and ores. Normally, the metals are more heavier than their impurities which they occur with it. Example is hematite, ore of iron. And then there is a fourth flotation, in which the method it is a method in which we differentiate it on the basis of welding property of impurities and gangue particle with the water and oil, and it is also help in to concentrate the sulfide ore. And there is a magnetic separation in which it is a method in which they depend on it is a method in which we differentiate it on the basis of magnetic property of the ore and gangue particle. And then there is the extraction of ore, which where we take the roasting and calcination. Roasting is a process in which the sulfide ore gets heated, and it forms sulfur dioxide. Like the example in the roasting is the process in which the amount of sulfide ore gets heated in the presence of air that forms sulfur dioxide. Like example HGS plus O2, which is HGS is cinnabar, which reacted with O2 to form HGO mercuric oxide with SO2. Then there is a calcination. It is a process in which the amount of substance gets heated in the absence of air below its melting point. It is called as calcination. Like example ZnCO3, which is heated and it forms zinc oxide with CO2. And there is also some of the calcination. There is also the sum of point for calcination. It makes them porous. It makes the ores porous, and it completely destroyed the organic matter, and it changed the hydroxide and carbonate ion into oxide ion. And then in the last there is a refining of ore through the electrolytic reduction, where we take the copper sulfate solution in which we dip the anode and cathode of which is made up of graphite rod, and when we pass the electricity from the solution, then Firstly, the anode, which is made up of impurities of impure metal, and it is thicker, whereas cathode is thin and it is made up of pure strip of metal. And when the copper sulfate solution get passed by the electrolysis, then the pure metal get attached with the cathode, and the impurity of anode get deposited as a anode mud, and this is called as refining of ore.
Now, आपको ये बताना है रिडक्शन बाय हीटिंग विद कार्बन। बाद में मुझे बताओ रिडक्शन बाय हीटिंग विद कार्बन एग्जांपल।
The process is called calcination, in which carbonate ore is heated in the
मैं रिडक्शन बोल रहा है, रिडक्शन बाय हीटिंग विद कार्बन।
heating with carbon.
हाँ,
Example is ZnCO3.
विद कार्बन है। यस।
When we heat zinc oxide with carbon, it forms zinc plus carbon monoxide.
Okay. Now, what is a thermite reaction? Soil बताओ।
Thermite reaction is a type of reaction in which it is used to join the railway trains mainly, that is FeS4 to react with the
FeS4 तो नहीं है। Yes, I.
The thermite reaction states that when the aluminium gets reacted with the Fe2O3, then it forms aluminium oxide with 3Fe, where aluminium oxide Al2O3 is aluminium oxide.
Yes, प्रतिभा आप मुझे बताओ। Extraction of a metal with a higher reactivity series.
Mostly those metals which are highly reactive, that are extracted by the process of electrolysis, in which the pure metal is in which on cathode the impure metal is taken, and on anode a strip of pure metal is taken, and when electricity is passed through it, then the pure metal goes through the anode, as the anode being thick, and the impurities which is there will be stored down.
और भी बताओ। Yes, I. बहुत wrong था।
She said wrong. We take the anode as impure strip, where cathode is a pure. Like is the example of copper sulfate solution, in which when the electric current passes from it, then the pure metal get attached with the cathode, because cathode is made up of pure strip of metal, and through decomposition the impurities get deposited under in the jar as anode mud.
Fatima, you just tell me about how sodium metal is extracted from its sodium chloride.
And sodium metal is very highly reactive, then it is obtained through electrolytic reduction of its molten ore.
कैसे? ये तो कुछ मेथड भी है। How?
First of all, we take impure sodium metal, means its ore, in anode.
No wrong. यहाँ पे मैंने क्वेश्चन से पूछा है कि सोडियम क्लोराइड से कैसे एक्सट्रैक्ट कर सकते हैं सोडियम क्लोराइड। आपको सोडियम क्लोराइड से सोडियम आपको एक्सट्रैक्ट करना है। बस बोलो बात में तुम्हारी क्वेश्चन है।
First, we take an aqueous solution of NaCl, then on passing electricity through it.
आप मुझे बताओ NaCl एक्वस सॉल्यूशन से आप कैसे एनओ बाहर कर सकते हो सोडियम को?
Dissociate in lines.
नो रॉन्ग। यस आई बताओ।
It is also there is a brine solution, na?
नो ब्राइट सॉल्यूशन NaCl का मोल्टेन फॉर्म लेते हैं ना।
NaCl makes the ionic compound, so it cannot conduct electricity. That's why we take the molten state or to conduct the electricity. And through the electrolysis, their bond will be break into ions Na plus and Cl minus.
ओके, तो एनोड पे क्या रिएक्शन होगा?
So anode is a positively charged, so it will attract the negatively charged, which is chlorine, and cathode is a negatively charged, so it will attract positively charged, which is sodium.
ओके, खुशबू आप मुझे बताओ about the extraction of aluminum from Al2O3 aluminum oxide.
We extract aluminium from air to O3 by reduction process,
कौन सा reduction?
electrolytic reduction.
Okay, yes.
When we take a jar with electrode like cathode and anode, and anode is deposited with impure metal oxide, and when we pass electricity through the solution, get dissociate in the form of the ions, and the pure metal aluminium get deposited on the cathode, and the rod of cathode becomes thick, and the impurities get deposited and downside of the anode electrode, which is done at anode.
What is not? क्या बोलते हैं उसे?
Anode mud.
मड यहाँ पे कहाँ बनेगा Al2O3? मड यहाँ कहाँ बनेगा? Yes sir.
Al2, we take the aluminum oxide as a solution, and when electricity pass through it, then their ions will be broken down as O2 minus and Al plus, where cathode is negatively charged, so it will attract positively charged as aluminum, and anode is a positively charged, so it will attract oxygen as a negatively charged.
Okay, good. तो इस टॉपिक का सबसे अच्छा प्रिपरेशन साइंस अमल करेगा. Now next, आपका एक क्वेश्चन है, that is you have to explain an activity under which air and moistures are essential for rusting of iron. Yes, Fatima.
First we take 3 test tube. In first test tube we will take water, filled with water and place iron nail inside it. In second test tube we will take we will take only water and a preventive oil layer to prevent the air from entering it, and iron nails will be placed. And in test tube 3 we take anhydrous calcium chloride placed inside the test tube with the iron nails. Then we will see that the rusting occurs only in test tube of calcium, test tube of water. This shows that both water and air is necessary for the rusting of iron, as because in test tube B there is a presence of water but no air. Therefore, rusting does not take place. And
कौन
in
बतियाओ
test
थोड़ा सा
tube C,
देखत रहो.
which is anhydrous calcium chloride, there is no water and no air, so there is no any rusting. Therefore, it can be proved that rusting only occurs through air and water.
Okay, good. Now next, we have to tell the method for the prevention of corrosion. Yes, Pratyot.
From preventing from corrosion, we can use the process like galvanization, anodizing by painting that metal and.
Yes, sir. Same question.
The iron is prevented from the corrosion at many process like galvanization, painting, layering of many metals, and also we prevent it with the process of layering of pins.
Yes, sir.
It is a very common method, which is electroplating, which is used to coating a layer of chromium, nickel or aluminum on the metal that will prevent it further from the corrosion. In the case of iron, rusting of iron, we coat it with the zinc layer, which prevent it further from its oxidation, and it is called as galvanization. And there is also oiling and greasing used, or painting is used to prevent it further from the corrosion.
Okay. Yeah, Usbi, you tell me about the self-fermentation. Self-fermentation किसी metal में होता है क्या? From corrosion. Yes, sir.
Yes, in aluminum metal it has self-fermentation because it itself forms oxide layer on its surface to prevent its further oxidation to get corroded.
Okay. Now next, what is an alloy? Sorry, बताओ. क्या हो गया तुमको? Yes, right.
Alloy is a homogeneous mixture of two or more than two metals and non-metals. Usually, the example of alloy is brass, bronze, and solder, etc. And we usually use gold at 22 carat. We can't use gold at 24 carat because 24 carat gold is very soft and it can broke very easily. That's why in the 22 carat of gold we add some of the copper and silver.
That means which gold is strongest? 18 karat or 14 karat?
Yes sir.
कौन सा gold strong? काफी hard होगा.
14 carat.
14 karat. Why? उसमें क्या होगा?
Because in the 14 carat of gold there is a less amount of gold but the high amount of metals such as copper.
मतलब आप मुझे बताओ, beryllium क्या है?
What's it?
Beryllium.
Duralium.
Yes.
Duralium is a ore. It's a alloy.
Alloy. कौन सा alloy है? इसमें क्या क्या होता है?
In tin and lead are present.
No. Yes, खुशबू.
Duralism is an alloy of aluminium, copper, manganese and magnesium. There are 95% of aluminium, 4% of copper, 0.5% magnesium and 0.5% manganese.
Good. What is amalgam? Yes, Fatma बताओ.
Any alloy is called as amalgam if mercury is one of its constituents.
Okay. What are the brass? Yes, Fatma बताओ.
Brass is a alloy made up of copper and zinc.
Yes, sir.
Brass is an alloy which is made of 80% of copper and 20% of zinc. It is highly malleable and it is used to making bolts and utensils, etc.
What is solder? What are the composition of solder? Yes, Khushbu.
The composition of solder is lead and tin, where 50% of lead and 50% of tin. It is used for the welding of the wire.
Okay. Now the last question of the chapter is what are the wonders of ancient Indian metallurgy? That is iron pillar at Delhi. इसमें dusting क्यों नहीं होता है? Yes, sir.
It is about 400 year BC old iron pillar situated near Qutub Minar, and it doesn't get rust because it have made the magnetic oxide Fe3O4 of a layer which prevents it from the corrosion.
Okay. So I am moving towards the next chapter, that is carbonate compound. अब 2 मिनट का ब्रेक ले लो.
पानी पी लीजिए आप लोग, पानी पी लीजिए, फ्रेश हो जाइए. हाँ है 30 मिनट.
So the last chapter, that is carbonate compound, start करते हैं. So tell me about all the properties of carbon element, starting from Pratibha.
Carbon is an element which has 4 valency, hence it have too much bonds, it have versatile nature, and it have also the property of catenation, from which it can make bond with the same atom of carbon.
Yes, second property बताओ.
Second property is carbon have the property of isomerism. It can form
Object isomers का वो पूरा है.
it is the property of carbon. And we can also say that carbon has tetravalent property. Hence it has 4 valency in its outer shell.
कुछ आप बताओ.
Carbon make bonds with the many atoms due to catenation property, and its bonds or atoms depend on its small size also.
और कोई प्रॉपर्टी बता सकते हो साइड में?
Normally, the two of the main properties of carbons, tetravalent and catenation. Catenation is a self-linking property of carbon in which it make bond with another carbon atom, and that's why it have versatile nature, due to which millions of compound of carbon take place made, and there is a tetravalent property in which carbon belongs from the group 14, and due to which it is present at period 2, and it has 6 electrons, where its electronic configuration is 2 and 4, where in at the last that it have 4 valence electrons, its outermost shell, and due to which there is an example as the CH4, which is the basic and first compound of carbon, in which carbon, the 4 electrons of carbon get bonded with each monovalent electron of hydrogen.
Okay, good. Now, Sohail, आप बताओ, why does carbon form only covalent bond?
Carbon formed only covalent bond because it is not fully transfer of electron. It is only create a bond between the atoms, sharing of electrons.
Yes, sir.
Carbon form only covalent compound because of its tetravalent and catenation property. And if, by the way, we suppose that carbon take the compound, then 4 compound, then to add the compound we have to take the 6 electron of carbon cannot balance or cannot attract 10 electrons from the outer side, and when the carbon atom reduce its last 4 valence electron for outermost side, then it need very much amount of energy to reduce it from the carbon. That's why it always make covalent bond, and it is volatile in nature.
Now, next. Why a carbon compounds have low melting and boiling point? Khushbu.
Carbon compound is a non-metal and it is a tetravalency. It always form covalent bond, and covalent bond have low melting and boiling point because there is no inter-ionic force of attraction between them.
Who can complete this answer? Yes, ma'am.
In carbon compounds, covalent bond is found, which is really a weak bond, and therefore we do not require much energy to break it. Therefore, it has low melting point.
Now, next. Tell me about the allotropes of carbon. Okay. So, starting from Sohail. आप diamonds के बारे में बताओ.
There are 3 electrons of carbon. One of them is diamond. Diamond is a hard and the transparent object. Its shape is like tetrahedron, and it can reflect most of the light from there, and it does not conduct electricity due to lack of electrons, and it has most of the shining properties, and diamond is used to the cutting mirrors.
Okay.
Mirror.
Yes, side.
Mainly, diamond have a highly refracting surface because of its high refractive index, and diamond have high thermal conductivity, and diamond have 3D shape because in which all 4 electron of carbon get attached with another 4 electron of carbon, and with the carbon-carbon bond it make it strong, due to which it is the hardest natural substance of the earth.
Yes, ma'am.
A diamond has high melting and boiling point, and also diamond has high density.
Yes, ma'am.
Diamond is a network structure, 3D and tetravalent. Its carbon bond is attached with the 4 carbon of each atoms, and diamond density is 3.51 gram per centimeter.
Now, tell me about the graphite. Padma.
Graphite is a good conductor of electricity. allotrope of carbon and it has a layering structure. It is hexagonal in shape and hexagonal in shape and it is an allotrope of carbon.
Yes, Khushbu.
Diamond is a 2D shaped. Graphite is a 2D shaped structure and it is lubricant and parallel structure, hexagonal and parallel structure, and diamond carbon atom is attached with the 3 carbon of each atom.
Yes, sir.
Usually graphite is very smoothly because it only bond its 3 electron and the 4th electron remain free, due to which it can conduct electricity as an exceptional non-metal very well, and it is smoothly because it make loosely covalent compound, loosely covalent bond.
Okay. Now, Pratibha, you just tell me why graphite is used as a slippery.
Because graphite has a low force of attraction between them and it is a lubricant.
Okay. What is Buck-Mist fluorines? Yes, sir.
Bulk-Mist fluorines is also a electron of carbon and it is C60. It forms with the 60 carbons and the shape of bulk-Mist fluorines is football and each carbon is joined with them of 4 other carbons.
Yes, sir.
Mainly bulk mixture fluorines have formula C60 with 6 atom of carbon, and there is also the involvement of C70 and C90, and it is a structure of football, and it is made by Robert bulk mixture fluorines.
Yes, sir.
It's also like a geodesic dome which are made by the US engineer R. Buckminster Fuller.
Okay. Now, next, tell me about the tendency to form a multiple bond is done by carbon. Yes, Khushbu.
Because carbon has a tetravalent and catenation property. Due to this, carbon form multiple bonds.
Pratibha will tell what is isomerism.
Isomerism is a property in which it
Isomerism is not a property. Yes.
Isomerism define the compound which have the same molecular form but different structure. Is known as isomers.
Example.
Example is that C2H6.
C2H6 का क्या है?
It has the same molecular.
C2H6 तुम बोल रहे हो?
Yes, sir.
तो इसमें इसके आइसोमर्स कितने होंगे? 3 हो जाएगा C2H6 के आइसोमर्स. Yes, sir.
Isomers are those compounds which have same molecular formula but different identical chemical properties and different physical properties. Like we take ethanol, ethane. Ethane has formula C2H6, and it can be also written as ethanol.
आप मुझे बताओ कितने आइसोमर्स बनेंगे?
Ethane के
हाँ.
2.
2 कैसे बनेंगे? तो सिंगल रहेगा ना, 2 ही कार्बन तो आइसोमर्स कहाँ बन रहे हैं? एक ही आइसोमर्स उसमें हो गए स्ट्रक्चर अकेले हो. फातिमा मुझे बताओ कि पेंटेन में कितने आइसोमर्स होंगे?
4.
ओके. खुशबू?
3 isomers in pentane.
3 होगा. हाँ ठीक है. बताओ कौन कौन सा? आप मुझे बताओ उसमें डिग्री अपना डिग्री कितने डिग्री का फॉर्म करेगा? जो पेंटेन है तो
Pentane to 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree.
4 डिग्री फॉर्म नहीं कर सकते.
4 degree.
सो 4 डिग्री फॉर्म नहीं करेगा.
No, sir.
साइड
सब पेंटेन में नहीं कर सकता है.
4 डिग्री का मतलब क्या होता है?
मीन्स वो मतलब ब्रांच लॉन्ग चेन में आगे के कार्बन से जुड़े हुए हैं.
मतलब एक सिंगल कार्बन हो जो कि 4 कार्बन से अटैच हो.
हाँ,
उसके लिए 4
तो
डिग्री
पेंटेन बना सकता है.
बना सकते हैं ना.
हाँ, बना सकता है.
Next. Now tell me what is the saturated hydrocarbons, Fatima?
saturated.
the 5 homologous series. अल्केन का आप मुझे 5 homologous series बताओ अल्केन का.
methane, ethane, propane, butane, butane, pentane, hexane.
प्रतिभा आप मुझे बताओ what is vital force theory?
According to vital force theory, it is said that organic compound is not be prepared in lab, which is said by Bacillus.
Pergelius, yes. Then later on what happened?
Then later, by I forget the name, but by organic compound is formed, which is urea.
And how it's formed? Yes, who will tell for us? Just one.
It is proved wrong by the scientist named Fowler, who accidentally discovered made urea
In the lab.
in the lab. Urea formula is NH2CuNH2, but he was to form ammonium cyanide, but accidentally formed urea.
Now, what are the unsaturated hydrocarbons? Side.
Unsaturated hydrocarbons are those where carbon make the at least two or three triple bond with another hydrogen and along with a single bond are called unsaturated hydrocarbon. Example is alkene. As alkene is written as CnH2n and alkyne is written as CnH2n minus 2, where the example is C and for alkene is C3H and for the example of alkene we take C3H4 and example of
Formula of alkene क्या होगा?
CnH2n minus 2.
Alkene में पूछ रहा हूँ कहीं नहीं.
Alkene na
हाँ.
CnH2n there is a C3H6 and then there alkyne is CnH2n minus 2, then it forms C2H2.
Now next, just tell me about how a carbon can form a straight chain, branch chain, and a closed cyclic chain. So,
Because it is the property of connection and tetravalency from which it form a bond due to a straight bond cyclic both form.
yes, sir.
Usually by the self-linking property, carbon makes their bond as a cyclic or a straight chain of branched chain. Like example, the best example is benzene, which is a cyclic bonded, and the carbon bonded with another carbon as a self-linking property. And in the branch, we can take any alkanes.
Fatima will tell me about.
फातिमा भी इस पे बोलना चाह रही थी, कुछ हाथ उठाई थी, बोलिए.
Fatima, just tell me.
ओके.
Fatima, just tell me about what are the aromatic hydrocarbons.
Aromatic hydrocarbons are those which are cyclic, means closed loop, and it is bonded with alternate double bonded. Its best example is benzene, whose formula is C6H6.
Okay. Fatima will tell me what is homologous series.
Homologous series is the series of carbon which differ from CH2, whose mass is 14 MeV.
Yes, sir.
Homologous series is defined as a group of atoms which have similar chemical properties, and it is differed by the further atom differ by CH2 group.
Similar chemical properties होते हैं.
It's a similar chemical properties.
Methanol और ethanol के properties सेम है.
So यही चीज define है.
Similar physical property हो सकते हैं. Just tell me about the difference between a functional group and a hydrocarbon. Yes, what?
Group is a group of atoms which defines the characteristic of that organic compound, its chemical properties. While hydrocarbon is the carbon attached
What is functional group?
Functional group is an
पूछा
atom
मैंने से कहा मैंने
which
पूछा
defines the characteristic of their
ऐसा
organism
बैठे करे तो
or
मैं
its
कहाँ
chemical properties.
Okay, sir, coming towards once more. Just tell me about जैसे आपने बताया था कि which the homologous series having the similar chemical properties. So it's right. And I'm asking the next question towards you. Just tell me about the difference between alkane and alkyne.
Alkyne,
Yes, alkane and alkyne.
why any?
Yes, yes.
There is a difference that in alkane they always make saturated. They are example of saturated hydrocarbon in which the carbon is bonded with a single bonded with the another like CH4, which is where 4 electron of carbon bonded with the monovalent electron of hydrogen. Where alkyne and alkane is written as CnH2n plus 2. Where alkyne its formula, general formula is written as CnH2n minus 2, and it always example of unsaturated hydrocarbon in which it contain at least double or triple bond along with the single bonded with the other compound. Like the example is C2H2 and etc.
Now you have to tell the chemical properties of a carbon compound. Yes, Fatima, tell.
A carbon compound is covalently bonded, means it can also be said as covalent compound, and it has low melting and boiling point. It is a bad conductor of electricity. It consists of molecules, not of ions. It is loosely bonded.
Just tell me about the conversion reaction of carbon. Fatima.
In combustion reaction of carbon, like we take methane, when it is burned in the presence of oxygen, O2, then it gives CO2, H2O, and heat and light is produced.
कुछ कमेंट्स था सर, वो हाथ पे ध्यान दिया
Yes.
जाए.
Usually the carbon make always covalent compound, and covalent compound have volatile in nature, and covalent compound not soluble in water but soluble in oil and other substance, and due to its tetravalent and catenation property, it always make it is an exception that carbon always make a covalent compound, and sometimes it also make coordinate bond.
वो तो पिछले पढ़ा था ना, मैंने पूछा था कंबसन रिएक्शन में.
नहीं, आप पूछा था ना कि कार्बन का केमिकल प्रॉपर्टी.
I am asking for the types of chemical properties. मैंने पूछा types. Okay. चलो कोई बात नहीं, आप ये बताओ. अभी बताओ साइड. Tell me about what happened when ethanol is burned in the presence of oxygen.
When ethanol is burned in the presence of oxygen, then the evolution of CO2 and H2O takes place.
And so you just tell me why the substance burn with or without the flame?
Repeat, sir.
Why do the substance burn with or without flame?
The substance burn with flame or without flame. Without flame, we burn in the presence of atmosphere, and the compound which is burned in the presence of flame, then it will heat and then break down into parts.
खुशबू तुम मुझे बताओ, तुम मालूम से कुछ मुझे पूछा भी था क्लास में.
Sir, question repeated.
Why do substance burn with or without flame?
Substance burn with or without flame, because there are many substances present in the earth like saturated or unsaturated. And when saturated compound burn like LPG, which gives a clean light and it is a complete combustion. But when we burn the coal, it get burned with a yellow sooty flame. But it is an incomplete combustion.
Okay. But what is oxidation reaction?
In oxidation
In terms of carbon. Yes.
In oxidation reaction, gain of oxygen and loss of hydrogen will take place.
Example.
Example of oxidation reaction is when C2H5OH is oxidized in the presence of KMnO4, then it will produce CH3COOH.
Yes, I know. Whoever wants to say.
Same.
Yes.
Oxidation reaction is consist of the loss of electron and adding of oxygen. Like the best example is ethanol. When ethanol is react with the oxidizing agent potassium permanganate and potassium dichromate, then it forms ethanoic acid, in which we see that the oxygen molecule in the ethanol is one, but in the compound ethanoic acid it become two. So we can see that the oxidation reaction, it means the addition of oxygen.
Okay. Yes, so you just tell me about the addition reaction.
Addition reaction is defined as when two new compounds meet together and form a new compound, that is addition reaction.
Yes, sir.
Addition reaction is a reaction in which the reagent is used where there is no loss of any small molecules. It's called as addition reaction.
Example.
Example is C2H5OH. C2H5OH.
Yes.
When we react unsaturated compound with hydrogen in the presence of the nickel catalyst and after that the saturated compound is formed, it is known as addition reaction. Hydrogen is an example of addition reaction because the stable oil in the presence of hydrogen or with hydrogen gas in the presence of the nickel catalyst, it forms vanaspati ghee, which is saturated, but vegetable oil or fat is unsaturated. Or we take example of C2H2 with hydrogen in the presence of nickel catalyst, it forms C2H6, which is a saturated compound.
Okay. Yes, Fatma, tell me what is a saponification reaction?
In saponification reaction, ethyl ethanoate, which belongs to ester group, react with the sodium hydroxide to form sodium acetate plus ethanol, and this sodium acetate is formed and called as soap. This process called saponification.
Pratibha, you just tell me about what is esterification reaction?
In this esterification reaction, ethanol and ethanoic acid combine to form ester, which is sweet.
In the presence of what?
In the present of concentrated H2SO4.
Okay. Now next, tell me about what happens when a sodium carbonate reacts with sodium bicarbonate. Na2CO3 plus, you have to tell me about Na2CO3 and with example acid like CS3COH. What is the product? Yes, sir.
When Na2CO3 react with CH3COOH, then it forms sodium acetate with alcohol.
Alcohol.
No, sodium acetate and CO2 gas evolve from it.
Yes.
When we react sodium carbonate with ethanoic acid, it forms sodium acetate plus CO2 plus SO.
Now, you just tell me, Fatima, about the cleaning action of soap.
First of all, soap is a sodium or potassium salt of a long chain of fatty acid. Then it has two parts, but two means two parts. And first is ionic end, and next is hydrocarbon end. Means like COONM plus. It's ionic end is. And one is hydrophilic and another is hydrophobic. The ionic part is hydrophilic in nature, which get dissolved in water as it attracts, and hydrophobic part get attached with the carbon compounds present in the oil or dust on the cloth, and through mechanical force it forms a close bond with the carbon compound present in the oil, and when ionic part dissolve in water, it forms mixed cells, and after that through mechanical force we beat the cloths, and then the bond formed between the carbon compound get break, and thus the dust particles removed from the cloth and the cloth is clean.
Yes, I know. Do you know?
Sir,
Same question.
the cleaning action of soap is that soap is made up of sodium or potassium salt with a long chain of carboxylic acid, and when it has two ends, hydrophobic and hydrophilic end, and hydrophilic is a polar and hydrophobic is non-polar. So when hydrophobic get attached with the water, and they make a closed circle with the tail of hydrophobic end, and from making a closed circle, they extract the carbon which is present in the dirt, and then there is a formation of cluster of molecule take place, which is called as micelles, and then after their bond will broken from the hydrophilic and hydrophobic get deattached, and then the dirt particle taken out from it, which is called as the cleaning action of soap.
Okay. So the last question of this chapter is how a soap is prepared. You will tell me the preparation of soap. Yes, Fatima.
So soap is prepared from the fatty acid like stearic acid and oleic acid. First we take oil and fatty acid plus NaOH. Then it will form the glycerol and sodium acetate. That sodium acetate is soap, and the process is also called saponification.
Okay, one more question. Why a cloth cannot be cleaned in hard water? Yes, Khushbu.
When we clean cloth with a soap in a hard water, it does not get clean because hard water contains magnesium or calcium ion, and soap does not dissolve in a hard water. It forms insoluble PPT, which is called scum.
Okay, so इस क्वेश्चन से टेबल पे ऐड कर रहा हूँ एंड आपके बोर्ड ऑफ एग्जाम के लिए एंड बेस्ट ऑफ लक फॉर योर एग्जाम एंड दो तीन बातें आप ध्यान रखोगे. आप जब भी आंसर लिखोगे अपने बोर्ड के पेपर में, सो जहाँ पे रिक्वायरमेंट है वहाँ आपको कैमरा ऐसे क्वेश्चन लिखना ही है. इवेंट ना भी हो भी लिखो, क्योंकि वो एक जिसका ब्यूटी ऑफ योर राइटिंग स्किल. ओके, एंड सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट वहाँ पर आपको इस बात का ध्यान देना है, आपको आंसर्स 5 में मेंशन करना है. ओके, सो थैंक यू स्टूडेंट्स.
अभी तक तो हम लोग के क्वेश्चन थे और आपके जवाब थे, यानी कि हम लोग पूछ रहे थे, आप जवाब दे रहे थे. अब जो हमारा क्वेश्चन होगा वही तो जवाब आएगा. आज लास्ट भी है. हम चाहते हैं कि सब लोग पारा पारी मन की बात कुछ बताएं, अपने मन की बात. कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं है. ये डिबेट के बारे में डिबेट हुआ, आपको कैसा लगा, जिस पर्पस के लिए हम लोग किए, क्या उसमें आपको कुछ लगता है कि फ़ायदा हुआ? प्रतिभा, आप कुछ बताइए इसके बारे में.
सर, डिबेट से फायदे तो बहुत है, क्योंकि अक्सर संडे को हम लोग हॉलीडे मानते हैं और उस दिन हम लोग पढ़ते तो बिल्कुल नहीं है, और कभी कभी पढ़ते हैं तो वो भी होमवर्क के लिए. लेकिन अगर डिबेट रहता है तो हम लोग के ऊपर एक प्रेशर रहता है कि पढ़ना वरना क्या बोलेंगे, तो उस प्रेशर की वजह से हम लोग कुछ ना कुछ तो पढ़ लेते हैं. सर, डिबेट से हम लोग को बहुत फायदा हुआ है. पहली बात कि हम लोग एक प्रेशर मिलते हैं, प्रेशर होता है एक जिसकी वजह से हम लोग ज़्यादा पढ़ पाते हैं. और दूसरी बात कि हम लोग पार्टिसिपेंट्स के आंसर सुन के हमें जो नहीं पता होता वो भी हम लोग सीखते हैं, और वो सीखते हैं तो सुनी हुई चीज़ ज़्यादा देर तक याद रहती है, तो ये हम लोग के लिए बेनिफिशियल था.
सर, डिबेट से हम लोग को बहुत प्रॉफिट हुआ है, क्योंकि हम लोग कभी भी होमवर्क या कुछ भी मिलता था तो हम लोग बस वही बना के सोचते थे कि अब क्या पढ़ना है, बाद में पढ़ लेंगे, और बुक्स भी नहीं रीड करते थे. लेकिन डिबेट की वजह से प्रेशर मिला, फिर बोर्ड का एग्जाम भी आ रहा है, तो नहीं हमें बुक पढ़ना चाहिए, क्या पता किस तरह का क्वेश्चन आ जाए एग्जाम में. और डिबेट में अलग अलग तरह के क्वेश्चन भी किए जाते हैं, तो हमें ये भी आइडिया हो रहा है किस किस तरह के क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं, और जो चीज़ हमें नहीं आ रहा वो भी यहाँ पे सीख रहे हैं.
डिबेट करना मतलब एक रेवोल्यूशन है, क्योंकि अगर जब डिबेट करेंगे तो अपने अंदर एक भावना आती है कि अगर हम नहीं बोलेंगे वहाँ पे तो हमारा इज्जत गिर जाएगा. तो इस वजह से डिबेट एक तरह से प्रेशर तो बनाता ही है, साथ में हमारे अंदर एक भावना बढ़ाता है कि हमें सबसे अच्छे तरीके से तैयारी करके जाना है, और हमें देख के ये सब सीखते हैं कि आगे चल के जब इनको इस स्टेज पे आना होगा तो फिर ये क्या करेंगे। तो इस वजह से ये एक समाज निर्माण का काम है, और ये मतलब कि आगे चल के अगर बहुत बड़े लेवल पे हुआ तो होगा भी, तो बहुत बड़ा चेंजिंग आएगा हम लोग के एजुकेशनल सिस्टम में, क्योंकि आज कभी भी इस ऐसे 10th क्लास के लेवल पे डिबेट कराया नहीं जाता है। यूजुअली कॉलेज में जब हम लोग डिग्री पाने वाले रहते हैं तो उस समय डिबेट कराया जाता है, क्योंकि उस समय हम मैच्योर हो जाते हैं। लेकिन अभी जो डिबेट कराने का मतलब है उससे हम लोग का मेंटलिटी चेंज होगा, और हमने मतलब जो चीज़ पता नहीं रहेगा हम उससे दूसरे से सीखेंगे, और अपने अंदर एक कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल को बढ़ाएगा कि हम कहीं भी जाकर किसी के सामने दो शब्द बोल सकते हैं, और हमें सोचना नहीं पड़ेगा कि या फिर हम नर्वस नहीं होंगे किसी के सामने।
सबसे पहले तो शुरू में हम लोग इसमें रुचि नहीं थी, लगता था कि डिबेट क्या है। फिर बाद में जब यहाँ पे खड़ा हुए तो एक ये कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल है कि नहीं, ये बहुत अच्छा चीज़ है जो आगे चल के लाइफ में हेल्प करेगा। अगर एक पर बहुत बड़े पढ़ लिख कुछ बनकर एक पर अगर आपको IIT के बाद एग्जाम में भेजा गया स्टेज पे कुछ बोलने के लिए तो उस समय हम लोग बोल नहीं पाएंगे। तो ये एक ऐसा स्टेज है जहाँ से शुरू होता है कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल, और ये जो जिसके लिए कराया जा रहा है वो बहुत बढ़िया है। जैसे कि संडे को आमूतम पहले तो हम लोग वैसे कुछ पढ़ते नहीं थे, तो लेकिन प्रेशर के कारण ये लगता था अगर नहीं पढ़े तो वहाँ पे क्या होगा, सभी बोलते हैं हम नहीं बोलेंगे। इस तरह से अपने ऐसा लगता था कि वहाँ पे अपना बेइज्जती होगा, इस तरह का। फिर बाद में फीलिंग है बहुत अच्छा तरीका कुछ करने का, कुछ ना करने से कुछ होना ही बेहतर होता है।
सच्चाई यही है कि डिबेट पहले तो आप लोग सबको ये माने सबका सोच है कि प्रेशर है, और प्रेशर का कारण मुझे जो समझ में आता है यही है कि लोग क्या कहेंगे। अगर मैं स्टेज पे खड़े होके बोल रही हूँ या बोल रहा हूँ और मेरे आंसर नहीं आ रहे हैं, गलत आ रहे हैं, तो कैसा हम फील करेंगे टीचर के सामने या सहपाठियों के सामने या अपने अभिभावक के सामने भी। इसका प्रेशर था। अगर हम कहें कि डिबेट में प्रेशर था तो परीक्षा में क्यों नहीं प्रेशर है? उसमें भी तो होना चाहिए, वीकली एग्जाम, सारे एग्जाम में, पर उसमें उतना प्रेशर नहीं है जितना यहाँ प्रेशर था। और यही प्रेशर का कारण था कि कितने बच्चे डिबेट छोड़ के भाग गए शर्म के मारे, फेस नहीं कर पाए। परीक्षा में कॉपी लिखोगे, केमिस्ट्री वाले सर चेक करेंगे, तुम जानते हो क्या लिखे हैं और सर जानते हैं कि तुमने क्या लिखा है, बाकी किसी को पता नहीं है। कोई पढ़ के तो सुनाता नहीं है, बहुत ही कुछ खास होता होगा तो अरविंद सर सुनाते होंगे, देखो ये कैसा आंसर लिखा है या लिखी है, नहीं तो कोई सुनाता नहीं है, बस नंबर दे दिया। तो उसमें क्या है कि आप प्रेशर में नहीं होते हैं, आपको शर्म महसूस नहीं होता है, क्योंकि आपका बात कोई जान नहीं पाया, या गार्जियन या सहपाठी कोई भी। और यहाँ पे तो सब कुछ कहते हैं ना ट्रांसपेरेंट है, सब दिखता है। इसका बहुत बड़ा प्रेशर आप लोग के ऊपर रहा। अभी हम लोग बात कर रहे थे, जैसे अभी तक जो भी डिबेट हुए तो यही बात कर रहे थे कि आज जो केमिस्ट्री का डिबेट हुआ ये बहुत ही अच्छा हुआ। आप लोगों ने बड़ा अच्छा तैयारी किया है। निश्चित तौर से केमिस्ट्री के जवाब बहुत अच्छे हैं, और भी सब्जेक्ट में आए, लेकिन हम लोग यही तुलना कर रहे थे कि केमिस्ट्री में तुम पांचों का तैयारी बहुत अच्छा है। 19-20 तो रहता ही है, लेकिन और सब सब्जेक्ट में जैसे था तो हम लोग साफ बोल दिए फलाने स्टूडेंट का बिल्कुल तैयारी नहीं है, फलाने स्टूडेंट ने सारा गलत जवाब दिया, इस तरह से हम लोगों ने कमेंट किया। लेकिन आज काफ़ी अच्छा रहा, और केमिस्ट्री के तरह ही सारे सब्जेक्ट अच्छे होने चाहिए। डिबेट तो स्कूल में होता है, मैंने देखा है। आप YouTube पे चले जाओ और आपको डिबेट स्कूल का भी आ जाएगा, मगर वो जो डिबेट होता है ना, इस तरह से नहीं होता है। बस एक टॉपिक दे दिया गया, जैसे तुम ऐसे बोलते हो वैसे उस टॉपिक पे तुम बोले और जाके सीट पे बैठ गए, और 20 या 25 या 10 बच्चे आकर के बोले, और जो जजमेंट करने वाले हैं वो जजमेंट कर रहे हैं कौन अच्छा बोल रहा है, और उसमें से 1 2 3 रैंक करके प्राइज बांट दिया। पर ये डिबेट बिल्कुल डिफरेंट, पूरा लेसन आपका पूरा किताब ही कवर किया जा रहा है। ऐसा नहीं है कि एक पर्यावरण पे या पृथ्वी पे या हमारे समाज पे किसी पे टॉपिक देके और बस उतना ही पूछ करके छोड़ दिया गया। यहाँ तो वो बात है नहीं, पूरी किताब, कोई भी लेसन अच्छा नहीं है सामने आ जाता है, ये लेसन आपका तैयारी अच्छा नहीं है। जो अच्छा होता है तो सर ने बता दिया फलाना लेसन इस स्टूडेंट का बहुत अच्छा तैयारी है। तो यहाँ एक जवाब दे करके आप अच्छे नहीं हो सकते हैं। हम लोग निबंध लिखते हैं, एक टॉपिक होता है, एक लिख करके विनर बन जाते हैं, सिर्फ एक। पर यहाँ वैसा थोड़ी है, यहाँ तो पूरा का पूरा जवाब तुम्हें देना है, पूरे किताब पूरे अपने लेसन का कवर होना चाहिए। अगर कवर नहीं होगा तो तुम अच्छे नहीं होगे। बहुत अच्छा रहा, और हम लोग का ये नया एक्सपेरिमेंट था, और हम लोग को सही मायने में बहुत मजा आता है, और इसका बहुत ही इंतजार हम लोग करते हैं। हम लोग भी संडे फालतू ही समझते थे, जैसे आप लोग संडे माने छुट्टी, हम लोग भी छुट्टी ही समझते थे। संडे को सारा काम नहीं भी है तो चलो इधर निकल जाओ उधर निकल जाओ, और जब से डिबेट हो गया हम लोग उस टाइम को भी यूज करने लगे आपके लिए, शिक्षा देने के लिए। कहीं नहीं जाते हम लोग संडे को, क्या तो डिबेट है। कोई भी काम हो वो संडे को नहीं होगा, और बाकी दिन तो तुम लोगों को पढ़ाना है, तो फिर होगा कब? होता ही नहीं है फालतू काम, उसके दूसरे रास्ते निकालते हैं हम लोग और दूसरे रास्ते के थ्रू कराते हैं, पर डिबेट नहीं छोड़ते। आप भी ऐसा ही करें, आप मन में ऐसा ना सोचें संडे माने छुट्टी, बहुत लंबा सफर है। हर दिन को अपना वर्किंग डे आप समझें, हर दिन वर्किंग डे है, आप किसी दिन मत लीजिए। और याद रहे, मैं आज बता देता हूँ, जब बड़े अफसर बनोगे ना तो अफसर जो होता है ना उसका छुट्टी कभी नहीं होता है, हर दिन काम करता है। चले जाओ स्टेट बैंक का मैनेजर संडे के दिन भी आकर के बैंक में बैठा रहेगा और 1-2 स्टाफ को बुला के काम करेगा। तुम बोलोगे आज तो सर बैंक है, लेकिन उसका तो वर्किंग डे है, तभी तो मैनेजर है। और जितने कर्मचारी होते हैं वो छुट्टी पर आते हैं। तो छुट्टी नहीं मनाना है, प्रति एक दिन काम करना है। आप सभी बच्चे जोरदार ताली बजाएं। इसी के साथ हम लोग खत्म करते हैं, और आप लोग को दोबारा ये स्टेज नहीं मिलेगा। आप इस स्टेज पे 10 क्लास के स्टूडेंट के रूप में खड़े नहीं होंगे, और 11 में जब हम लोग जाएंगे तो जेई नीट में डिबेट की जरूरत नहीं है। जेई के लिए तो सारा मैथमेटिक्स है। अगर हम बात करें कि उसमें अगर पढ़ाई करेंगे 12 क्लास के एग्जाम का, इंटर का, तो हो जाएगा, थ्योरी है। पर नीट और जेई में तो जरूरत नहीं है। मैडम कुछ कहेंगे?
आज सबसे अच्छा मुझे ये लगा कि सुहैल बहुत मेहनत किया, इतने दिन के डिबेट में अच्छा लगा। और ये जुनून जो आप लोग में है, जब तक आपका एग्ज़ाम बीत नहीं जाएगा तब तक ये कायम रहे, ताकि आपका एग्ज़ाम बेस्ट हो। और बच्चे वाकई में बहुत मेहनत कर रहे हैं, जो स्पेशली मेहनत करने वाले हैं, सब नहीं कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जिसको जीतना है वो मेहनत कर रहा है। डिबेट वाले तो कर ही रहे हैं, प्रेशर में करे चाहे जैसे करे, कर रहा है। मम्मी पापा के प्रेशर से हो या टीचर के प्रेशर से, काम तो हो रहा है। और जब तक एग्ज़ाम नहीं होगा तब तक ये प्रेशर कायम रहेगा। और मैं यही कहूँगी कि आप लोग अपने एग्ज़ाम में अपना बेस्ट दें, 100%। सो गाइस, ऑल द बेस्ट। थैंक यू।
बार बार कहता हूँ एक ही बात, आप लोग मेहनत तो जरूर कर रहे हैं, और सर भी यही कहते हैं कि सर आपने आग लगा दिया है। पर मैं चाहता हूँ यही कि आग में तुम पेट्रोल डालो, और जब आग में पेट्रोल डालोगे ना, यानी जल तो रहे हो और ज्यादा जलो। पेट्रोल बहुत तेज जलता है, फिर आप जो चाहते हैं वो मिलेगा। चलिए एक एक करके आप लोग धीरे धीरे जाएंगे, दौड़ के कोई नहीं जाएगा।